So this is how it's going to work. I don't know if you've done this before. It's going to be 15 minutes total. 10 minutes just to go through your budget proposal, and then your budget spreadsheet, what you're requesting for, and then 5 minutes for us asking questions any loose ends that we have.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'll start off. We're total asking is the same one as last year, $3,500. That's down from 2 years ago. We cut back on our travel expenses, even though we still do the same major travel adventure, we should call it. We just now request people to pay more of their own way or to volunteer more of their time. So that is our biggest portion of our budget is for travel. We attend the CPAC conference in Washington, D.C. My first year there were 5, last year there were 7, and this year looks like there'll be even more. The way the money is decided on how much students get is by volunteer hours, and so that could be functions that we have here on campus with volunteer, or reaching out in the community with the local Republican Victory Center and the Winnebago County Republican. So it's tracked by our secretary, so it's all fair and equal. The State Republican Conference, it really changes in the spring depending on elections. So it hasn't been determined yet. We don't always get to go to it because it usually falls during the week, so with classes. The next section is professional services, and we usually try and get speakers on campus. Last spring we had Newt Gingrich come. 2 years ago we had Rebecca Clayfish come, the lieutenant governor, if you don't know that. And so we're not sure who we'll get this year. There was rumors of maybe Tommy Thompson, but that it does cost a fair amount of money to get the larger speakers to come, so that money is important for us. The printing and duplicating is for any signs, recruitment materials, educational pamphlets of the tables. This year we had buttons made. That goes along with the advertising and notices about just ways to get our name out there. And that's another really important way for us to function as a group. The food and food contracts, usually at the first meeting of the year we'll have the recruitment, pizza or soda, and then when we have speakers, debates or rallies, we like to have some sort of refreshments or candy or so. It's just something that is there for people. And then the final thing is supplies, which we only ask for $50 out of our allocated budget, but we end up footing out of the bill because like this year chalking is going to be a major thing before the presidential election, and everything from staples and markers just to make sure we have that all covered is important for us. So that is each breakdown of our mission statements on top. I'm assuming you don't need me to read that. So then here's our budget proposal. Again, we're asking for $3,500 to cover that's something was wrong. $2,000 in travel. It should only be $2,000 on the sheet with the mission statement. The budget is correct. The spreadsheet is correct with the form.
Spreadsheet is correct.
Yes.
The narrative is.
Yep, the spreadsheet's correct. It should be $3,500.
Gotcha, bud.
And then the 1,000 professional services, printing and duplicating, supplies, the food and food contracts, and then advertising notices. We do get some money from membership, but with this year we had $10 for returners and $15 for first year students, so we use that directly for supplies. And that's all I have for you, so I guess I kept it under 10 minutes, but...
No, that's completely fine. Is there any questions?
Sure. Can you break down kind of what your trip cost is? So about what
the biggest cost is definitely for the flight, the airfare, and that changes so much. Like this year will definitely be more. I can't remember, this year I can't go because I have a track meet, but they were looking at a package deal, so they get a hotel and flight package deal, that's the cheapest, but that is the biggest one. And because we do pay for our advisor fully, that's part of the cost too.
So is it like it costs $500 per person, $200?
Per person, I think it was last year was a little over $200.
Okay.
And so I think some people got ranging from $150 down to $50, depending on the number of hours they volunteered.
Cool.
How many people do you expect to be in
This year, I think there's already 7 signed up for sure, and then there's 4 or 5 that are on the bubble about going on.
Is there any more questions for the college Republicans? Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
But this one's smoother than yesterday.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, is the one that you're having trouble
Yeah,
with?
he was no, the wingdings.
The wingdings?
and everything on it. Yeah, we had a hell of a day yesterday.
Things will get you.
Yeah. Thanks. Our 10:15 canceled, and I reached out and tried to get our labor appointments to reschedule for 10:15, and that was no dice. So if you guys wanted to grab something to eat, or since anything open at 10,
Opens at 11.
so that does not help anyone.
I blame them. They told me it was open at 9. I got here at 9. I was like, I was super excited about
I know. I saw that. How did you get into the office?
I had one girl let me in, and then I tried tracking her down again.
Because I tried to get in, and I saw the light was on. I was like, oh, maybe Ryan can get in.
Yeah, no, I got in for a little bit. I let the boot in.
Alright, so the way it's looking right now, the spreadsheet is working.
Yeah, and then so once you get your budget proposals and budget spreadsheets from the clubs and organizations, you can just put them into your binder, and then that's going to be the order we're going to go through and then vote on them.
How come Oshkosh Collegiate Composers canceled?
Because they're not a club.
They're not recognized?
Nope.
That'll happen.
That'd be a problem.
That's kind of a deal breaker here. We do have some goals. So I'm just gonna start at here. I did have a question that was not really pertaining to today, but so when we, you know how like we have that master spreadsheet and I'm supposed to paste the budgeted requests in there? Because when we deliberate, we say, you know, let's say we don't fund the full amount. How do I go and mark down, let's say if they ask for $10,000 and we give them $8,000 and their total budget was $10,000, do I times each line item by 20% to bring it down to the 80%?
It,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
think would depend on where the committee chooses to alter the amount that they request. So if they
So I'd have to
request
individually
like
do it?
$1,000 for advertising, but the committee thinks that they only need 800, you'd take 200 out of advertising.
So I have to individually.
Normally, the committee will provide that breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it is across the top, it would just be across the top.
Pre-med, so I think the next one, 1045, is the club that, they had that.
We don't have one till 10:45?
10:30,
Oh.
but I already entered that one.
One down, guys. We're cruising.
Oh, so yeah, Pre-Medical Society hasn't sent me a budget yet. They sent me a Word document.
Yeah, do you want to shoot?
Get that stapler down over there.
Yeah, we'll have to pass it around here once. Everything out here.
You can sit down. You don't have to stand.
Alright,
Unless you want to stand.
Yep.
doesn't matter.
Thanks for the whole. Okay, while they're getting settled, I'm just gonna explain. Have you done this before?
I haven't.
Okay, so this is how it's gonna work. It's just real simple. We have 15 minutes. And then so for 10 minutes, you're just gonna explain your budget, go over what your club is, what it does, and
Okay.
then go through your budget proposal. So break down each line item, how much you're requesting and why you're requesting that amount. And
Oh,
then just stress your total.
okay,
And then the last 5 minutes is gonna be for any questions you have for your.
okay.
Okay, so I just want to wait to do so.
You got 3? The garden organization.
Mhm.
Okay, if you want to get started?
All right, well, I'm Michelle. I'm from the Community Gardens Organization. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with us, but we actually have the gardens across the river. And it's a space where people can garden, can share ideas. We have the community section, and we actually donate food that our members can't use, so then we're helping out in the community. Our budget is mainly divided between 4 categories. And those are supplies, upkeep, and outreach, and then enrichment for our members. Under supplies, we have tomato stakes and trellis supplies. And we have 25 listed for that. And then we also would like to purchase 2 apple trees, and we have 130 for that. And then flowers for a plant sale, $20, and seeds and bulbs, and that is, let's see, 30 for each. And then for upkeep, we have irrigation supplies. And we'd like to purchase a new spray nozzle and soaker hoses. And let's see, we have $40 listed for that. And then we'd also like to rent a sod cutter, and that would just be a rental for a day. That's $60. For outreach, we'd like to have pizza for our first meeting of the spring semester, and I believe we have 35 listed for that. And that's just to encourage new members to come and check us out. We also do a harvest party in the fall and a planting party in the spring. And it's another way to get our name out there and bring in new members. And we also hold workshops, and this is something that is a good learning experience for current members and new members alike. Last fall, we actually did a composting workshop, so that was something I hadn't known a lot about beforehand. And for enrichment, we also have the CISA conference. It's a conference that we've gone to for the past 2 years. And it's a way for people to learn new skills and techniques, and then we bring it back to the garden and apply it here on campus. And that is $30 per person, and we generally take about 10 people. And something that we haven't done in the past, but a lot of students have expressed interest in, is doing an organic farm tour. And that would just be going to an organic farm in Wisconsin and learning from farmers, and again, bringing that knowledge back to the gardens, and hopefully bringing back some seedlings too to start up here. And we have an estimate of $250 for that trip. All right, and that's really about it. I didn't go into all of the items for the harvest party and the planting party. For each of those, we have 200 listed for a band, and then about 180 for food and 15 for advertising. And then another thing falling under the outreach would be the Taste of Oshkosh, and that we have $20 for advertising, and that would be posters, maybe like some markers and other supplies for that. And I think 2 years ago we actually did business cards that we could hand out, and that seemed to work well. I don't know, that's it though. Do you guys have any questions?
Is there any questions?
The only question I have is, you guys, I think last year they said, where do you guys keep your supplies for the things that are purchased year to year?
Oh, we actually have a workshop, or a work shed.
Right,
On
okay,
the
that's
garden,
locked
so-
up out there.
yeah,
So
it's
all your
locked
stuff,
up.
no one takes
Mhm.
it away from the facility?
No,
Okay.
but we're actually right across from the ground crew, so it's not a very packed area.
Is there more questions for the garden club? I got a question then. How do you
Okay.
guys decide your bands? Is this local bands that you want to
Yeah,
have these?
It's all local. Usually someone knows some band that could perform.
Any more questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Good day.
Two down, 98 to go.
Depressing.
Hmm?
Depressing. we had adjusted their budget last year. I think they were a little over ambitious with something. I think
Well, last year, they spent all their money
So new
and then
people,
came
new
back and
money.
asked for some more money, and
we
I
gave
said
them-
no.
We gave them a little bit. They
think we did
spent
one
on
more.
one band. I think we spent like 400 or 500 on the first band or their party.
Dang, I didn't know there's a 3-hole punch.
Yeah.
I just pushed it through the thing. Why did you stop me? You said you were next to me.
They had modern technology for that, you know.
I pick things up and I put them down. You're the best.
I know.
Do you have the 15 copies?
Yeah,
Are they hole punched?
yeah.
Are they stapled?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, wow.
First? It's got the trifecta.
Extra 15.
I don't care. I don't care if they stay. I just
But let's not get carried away because he didn't send me a spreadsheet.
You didn't send us
So,
a trifecta?
There's in a Word document, and I entered it manually. So let's take it down a notch.
Yeah.
We'll take away the staple job.
Come on.
Bonus-
No, actually, I'll lift it up a notch. You made
bonus-
him work a little bit.
I don't need to though. I have my hands full as is.
Thank you.
Uh,
So next year, just send that spreadsheet.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
You know what you guys can actually do next year, which is a suggestion, is that to have them all submitted, you could have created a Google Doc with all of these categories as an input. That's
Tried
all
it.
they had to do, and then submit it, and then it all
Can't.
submits to one.
We've thought of everything.
Tried it.
I,
Weren't able to make it work this time.
what's that?
Wasn't able to make it work. We're still working in that direction, though.
yeah. This system as it is complicated enough.
Well, because once you get done with it, there's a way you can export it from there.
But we couldn't protect it though. That was the problem.
All right, let's get started. So obviously we're the allocations committee. I'm Ryan Hackliff, I'm the chair of allocations. This is Nick Erb, he's gonna be the controller, and that's Jim, our advisor. And the rest of the committee is made up of students, faculty, and staff. So you got 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes is just gonna be, you're gonna go through, say what your club is, organization, what your club is, what it does, and how it operates. And then go through the budget proposal, and then just talk about each line item, and then why you're requesting that much, and then what it's going towards.
Okay.
So, and then we'll have questions for the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So I'm Matthew Bohr. I'm the treasurer for the Pre-Medical Society. What we want to do with this club is really help spread interest and awareness about the medical field. So UW-Oshkosh students who are interested in medicine will have a place where they can find out more about it. And also we want to help pre-medical students who decide to join the club with the process of applying and knowing what they have to do and all the requirements they have to go through. And we also want to have a place where students can get together for group volunteering activities. And one of the things we want to do is when medical professionals, representatives from other schools come here, we want to make sure that we're here to, make UW-Oshkosh look like a good school and host them very well. So the first thing we request is $800 for travel. And this is for trips to mock interviews for medical schools. There are 4 of these every year, and we're planning to reimburse each person $50 if they decide to drive. And we think that would help get people together, because we've had trouble in the past with having students pay the drivers and getting the money to get there and all that. And we also want to have $150 for advertising for meetings. And this is so when representatives from other schools come to Oshkosh, we can raise awareness of that and have better reception for them. And then also for our meetings and things like that. And then we just requested $200 for pizza parties with that beginning and end of each semester. And that's just for fun and to raise awareness for the club. And then we request $150 for our journey binder. And I'll pass that around. What this is just a place where new members for the PMS Society can come in and put all their information and know what they have to do for applying to medical schools. So if you want to look at that, I'll pass it down. And then we requested $100 for a warming station on polar plunge. And this is just for participants who are going to come and do polar plunge, so that after they're done, we can give them coffee, tea, or hot chocolate. And then for lunch with the director of admissions, this is funding requested for when representatives come from other schools, that we can provide a meal for them and for a few students to talk with them. And then we also requested $200 for a fundraising startup fund, and we're going to use this money to do puppy chow and snacks and stuff we can sell, so we can make our own money. So just some of the things we do that we don't require money for is the MCAT study night, which is every other week. And students can just stay after the meeting, and then if they have any questions about the MCAT or topics that they're struggling with, that other students can help them. And then we also go to Special Olympics as whenever the meetings are scheduled. And then hosting school representatives whenever they come. And then just basically the things I outlined earlier. Currently, we don't have any funding for the meeting place we're using is Halsey 149.
I had a question for you. It says in the September pizza party, $3 per person. Is that a cost or what you're charging the club members to attend?
That's the cost we're expecting.
Okay. What is your student fee for joining your organization?
There's no student fee.
No student fee? Okay.
One of the things the committee will probably take a look at is that $200 is those things
The
That's
fundraiser.
not necessarily true anymore. Ryan and I attended that meeting in Eau Claire, and we can talk about it after we're done asking questions.
Do that.
But there are ways to do it, and I was told to just mention it, and then it's a case-by-case basis. It more so refers to the,
if they're buying.
long story short, if we can fund seed money, as long as we get the money back in that same fiscal year. According to the meeting that we went to in Eau Claire, they said that because I asked it, we can fund seed money, but
That would
it's
require
by-
a change to our PPM,
Yes,
because right now in our PPM it says we
Yes,
don't.
no way.
Does it?
Yeah,
Okay. Then we will look into that one. I'll look into that one for you.
just to let you know.
Okay. On the travel part, you said reimbursement to, how is, I mean, are they going individually or are you going as a group? I mean, did you look at university vehicles or vans or what?
We carpool. We haven't looked at university vans.
Yeah, try talking to the university campus fleet vehicles, because they give you a set rate per mileage, how much it's gonna cost, and so you can get the accurate amount. And so you can get the fleet vehicles right from campus. And because we usually don't like to do reimbursements, actually I don't know if we do
We can't,
reimbursements.
we can't do reimbursements, but you can budget in your travel. As long as a faculty advisor goes with you, you can get funding as long as you use fleet vehicles.
Correct. And then
But a
the
faculty advisor has to go with you or some sort of member like that.
and the only time they'll pay for you to use your own cars if you
No,
try
that's
to get
true either.
fleet vehicles,
Yep.
and there's none left. And then you can use your own personal.
Which part?
They're the advisor, but,
Students can get
Now, if you
vehicles,
go
they
to
have to have a
Chicago-
faculty advisor sign off on the vehicle.
Oh,
But
okay.
students can travel in-state with the
Okay.
university vehicle.
In-state.
Just
that-
talk
In-state
to,
it
talk to the vehicles about that, because you're right, there is a reimbursement and there is a rate that they pay.
It's 44, well, it depends, if you have a fleet vehicle, it's a
Just talk to
certain
them.
dollar amount, yeah.
That they would give. So this is only for gas, that's my only question, is it's gas only, so
Yep.
you're not paying for hotel loads, money, or food, or anything like that?
Usually we come back that same night.
Okay. That's cool.
Good to know.
And don't worry, those cars are pretty nice, and you don't get pulled over. So don't speed.
So that's probably why you don't get pulled over.
Okay, so any other questions? Pre-med society? All right, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
So, well, we can raise a separate discussion about this. The only loophole I can see with the fundraising thing is that if you're buying supplies, that is a limited, like, organization supply for an event, and that's not really seed money. But what seed money would be is if you went out and you did something and you had to give a group or something money. So like, we couldn't stop a group from going out and buying Walmart, like, puppy chow supplies for a program. They're gonna raise money off of that, but
Well, they're not-
money related towards fundraising.
Yeah, it's fundraising, it's
But there's,
fundraising.
so instead of like the van delays where you buy it up front, you buy $500 worth, $200 worth of candy bars, and then they're making $1.50, I don't know, whatever, you know. So you're actually,
But the reason, because then like, if they buy all those candy bars with allocation of money, but then they don't send it all, and they go into a deficit, then I think that's why we don't, it's been discussed in the past, why we don't do fundraising.
I'm just arguing against it. I'm just arguing.
You're just being contrarian today.
That's what's
You're
so
devil's
fun about the ad hoc thing about the
advocate.
PPM.
What's that?
So I have a question
We can
then,
talk about
are
the
we
PPM all next
allowed
semester, it's gonna be
to
exciting.
change the PPM anytime soon? Because I did a fundraising presentation and that was in my fundraising presentation because of the meeting I went to, and Petra told me to let clubs know, like, oh, if they, or no, Jean told me, because Jean was there, she goes, well, now I guess if the seed money is fine or whatever.
Come sit down, please.
Have a seat.
Yeah.
It is if it was in our
Are you
PPM.
NTS?
So the question
Yes, we
was,
are.
Are we allowed to change it before?
I'll change it, have to go to the same round, which just sounds like you got stalled around.
Thank you. It's not stapled.
Well, at least it said it was case by case basis.
Like this one would have, that one would have to be removed.
Chris is waiting for 15 copies for whoever
Yeah.
has it.
We're going to big stack of extra copies.
I don't know if you're the one that replied to our email submission.
Yes.
It's all in Excel.
No, I got it.
There's
No, I
different
got it. No, I found it
tabs.
afterwards.
Okay,
I just saw the one thing, and I just made sure to set everyone to make sure. I didn't open up any of them.
Yeah.
I just made sure that there was a Word document. I saw it.
Okay, so you're just
The
second.
crazy thing is if it.
Don't beat me now.
Right.
When you know how to do that.
Right, and I agree with you. I just wanted to make sure that it was there.
Yes.
I didn't open.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, it's all in tabs. And I replied to
I
you
opened
this
up
morning.
I just didn't want to leave it on 110 spreadsheets during the
Why
day to check.
not?
So
Why not? I don't
I don't
understand.
get paid that much.
Oh, come on. You're a quasi-state employee. We all make the big bucks. We know that, right? Right, John?
We can get started early, because you guys are proactive, nice, like to see it. So this is the allocation committee. I'm Ryan Hackworth, I'm the chair of allocation. This is Nick Erd, he's the controller, and Jim, our advisor. The rest of the committee is made up of students, faculty, and staff. So how this works is you guys are gonna have 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, you're just gonna explain what your club is, what you guys do. And after that, you're gonna go into your budget proposal. So just talk about each line item, and then why you're requesting that specific amount. And give your total, and then the last 5 minutes, we're just have any questions, anything that maybe was, questions you guys brought up to us during the time you're giving your speech. So please begin.
All right, my name is Sherry Mahmood. I'm the budget planner for NTSO, which is the non-traditional student organization. The mission statement for NTSO is the primary purpose of NTSO is to enhance the educational experience for students through support, guidance, and friendship, while encouraging members to be more involved in campus, engaged in the community, and to gain leadership skills and be enriched culturally. Our budget proposal is on the first line for travel. Adult non-traditional students in higher education annual conference, or ANSHE as we call it. The budget request is based on previous conference pricing and locations, as information for the 2014 conference is not available at this time. The purpose of us going to this would be to network and gain knowledge from other non-traditional students and their organizations similar to NTSO that will help us to encourage and coordinate support, education, and advocacy for the adult learner at UW-Oshkosh. We've included hotel accommodations, airline tickets, meals, rental car, personal vehicle miles, and the total for that is $3,653. We also are looking at a trip to the Performing Arts Center in Appleton, Wisconsin. The purpose to promote cultural enrichment for our members to help broaden their educational experiences at UW-Oshkosh.
There's under the line of travel.
Okay, so we would be looking at a fleet vehicle for that.
The tickets, we have tickets under a different line item. I broke it down by the line items.
A planning retreat for officers. The purpose is to plan the year's strategic goals and plan for future events to foster campus involvement, also to team build among the leadership of NTSO. The total for that would be $4,250.
Well, that's total of travel.
Oh, that's the total of travel, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a subtotal and then there's the total travel.
Okay, so the total for those events would be $4,250. Rent and leases for 2013, 2014, and the purpose for that is to promote visibility of NTSO, campus involvement, engagement during the fall taste of Oshkosh. We would like to rent a snow cone machine, and that would be $75. That includes the rental fee, syrup, cups, and straws. Services, the purpose to promote cultural enrichment for our members to help broaden their educational experience at UWO. What we would like to do is sponsor and co-sponsor at least 4 speakers during that year. This also includes the admission to the performance at the Performing Arts Center and activities during the officer planning retreat. And the total for that would be $1,580. Printing and duplicating in state. Purpose is the promotion and visibility of NTSO for the fall 2013 and spring 2014 semesters, and we would use that for flyers for the promotion of the activities during the academic year, and that total is $300. Supplies. The purpose is the promotion and visibility of NTSO for the fall 2013 and spring 2014 semesters, and to have money available for miscellaneous supplies needed throughout, such as promotional items, miscellaneous supplies for meetings or events, and the total for that would be $400. Food and service contracts. Purpose is to attract and welcome new members during each semester and to promote campus involvement with members and their families. We do a welcome back picnic for new and returning members. We have refreshments at the spring semester kickoff. We have a family bowling night, and an end of year award banquet. The total for those items would be $840. Postage and freight, we do mail out invitations for the welcome back picnic. We're looking at $60 on that item. Dues and memberships. The purpose is to provide an opportunity for non-traditional students to engage students in a campus and community-wide activity and provide visibility to NTSO. Dragon Boat team registration. Dues membership for the Association for Non-Traditional Students in Higher Education, ANSHE conference. The total for those items would be
Altogether.
$1,238.
Yeah.
Okay. Advertising and notices. Purpose to promote our activities and attract new and or current members to support our mission of campus involvement, community engagement, and cultural enrichment. T-shirts to promote NTSO, hats for the Dragon Boat team, invitations for the picnic, and invitations to the year-end awards banquet, and the total for those items would be $685. Prizes and awards. Purpose is to support non-traditional students who show a high level of academic achievement and to encourage attendance and participation in our events. National Non-Traditional Student Week. Pins for inductees to Alpha Sigma Lambda Omega Kappa, which is a chapter of the Non-Traditional Student Honor Society, and the end of year awards banquet. The total for that would be $605. So the total for segregated fees and allocations budget request for 2013 and 2014 would be $10,033. We did our schedule of events in the summer of 2013. We would have a planning retreat for the officers in order to plan for the academic year. Monthly meetings during the academic year with discussion topics. Co-sponsorship of speakers throughout the academic year. The welcome back picnic, Taste of Oshkosh, Dragon Boat race, our National Non-Traditional Student Week, family bowling night, and those are the summer and fall activities. In the spring, we would be looking at the ANSHE conference, Taste of Oshkosh, Performing Arts Center in Appleton, family bowling night, and the end of year awards banquet.
Thank you. Are there any questions for NTSO?
I have a couple of questions. Just in referencing to your prior budgets, your budget went up from $6,000 last year to $10,000 this year. And then the year before that was $3,000. So I'm just wondering, what kind of membership do you guys have as far as like a need for additional, I mean, we're talking almost doubling every year. And the not necessarily the necessity, but where is this extra cost coming from what you guys have done in prior years?
The first big jump was the like $3,000 budget was the first budget we put forth, and where we're just really getting off the ground at that time. And then it's gone up because of the trip to the conference. That as you can tell, that's a pretty big expenditure, mostly because it's been in Seattle, it's been in North Carolina, so there's some big expense behind that. Other than that, and I wished I had, I'm the new advisor this year, Sherry's new. I do not have the budget that we have this year, so I'm not sure where all of that is. I know they've been trying to bring some more activities in and do some different things. We have adjusted it some to help out. I know last year we ended up helping out, I believe. Mike can help me, he's our president of NTSO. SEEK, we did give some funding to them and things like that, so we have been trying to help out. That's kind of where it's coming from, I believe. I know this year it's another big chunk would be the Dragon Boat race. That's almost $800. I thought that'd be a great way to get some students. We've tried to vary our activities because our students are they're older and they have a lot of different involvements and things, so we try to mix up what we make available for them to participate in. So that's been some of it. I don't know, Ken, if you're able to help me on the budget for this year. I don't know what that is. I was not a part of that last year.
Well, I think the travel's still pretty consistent with what last year's was. I mean, there are some new events, like the Dragon Boat Race is completely new, and again, that is because as non-traditionals, we have a very diverse group of people. You know, just a lot of different interests, and we sort of want to incorporate, you know, bring them into, you know, together. Last year, we ended up bailing out an organization that had a commitment for Earth Week. And so we ended up helping them out. So, and then based upon that, it sort of opened a door for us to help sponsor that from this point on. So some of the money that we placed in here is to look at being a sponsor for an event that, you know, places UWO very, you know, I mean, it puts us out there and that type of stuff. So.
What about member dues or like club fees or anything to the students, and how many members roughly do you have?
Right now, we don't have any dues. We've talked about that. We're kind of in we're in another huge transition. I know a lot of orgs go through this. Our VP is resigned. Sherry's brand new. We have another student who's out on some temporary medical leave. So we're always in this constant state of flux because of the nature of our group. I've talked to them about doing some dues to try and see if that would encourage more active participation. We've been running around anywhere from probably 12 to 15 students that come by through a month with our monthly meet and greets, which is up from about 4 or 5 a few years ago. We are working with a lot of the other student orgs. We put on a multi-org event with some of our funding for this year. Was that the second Saturday in September, and we had 8 different student orgs represented. We had brought in a speaker from the United Council for UW United Council for Students or whatever it is, and he came and spoke. And it was very, very well received by the groups that were there, and we are hoping to do that again. Try to get the groups to work together because we feel kind of siloed. And some of us have smaller groups, so if we can work with each other, it increases all of our participation and visibility.
The other thing I'd like to add, that as far as NTOs, some of the things that we do, like a lot of our students, non-trad students, actually do online classes. Yeah, they're a part of our community, so we want to involve them. So some of the things that we do, you know, is to pull them in as well, you know, for support, because we are sort of a support group as well. You know, for non-trads, because we do have some different issues, particularly if you've got kids and you know, spouses and that type of stuff you have to deal with. So yeah.
How much of you guys so do you have a set base of how many members you actually have that are consistent and come to every meeting?
I would say right now we're running 10 to 12 that are pretty, you know, active on, whether it's through connecting with us in various different ways, but we are getting around 10 that show up, 10 to 12.
You said it has been increasing from, you said you only had like 4?
Yeah, we used to be lucky to get 4 or 5.
Okay.
And so it has definitely increased. Like I said, we are really working with some of the other student groups because some of our members happen to be members of other groups. So we try to tag team off of each other and help keep each other's groups going and forward. And working with some of the other smaller centers. I know over the years we've helped out the Women's Center and the LGBTQ Center, things like that, try to help them with their disabilities as well.
Is there any more questions for you? Seeing none, thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is Phi Beta Lambda not a real group?
It was. They decided because there was something dealing with financial stuff. I'm not sure the whole story. We, you know, of course, we work at the whole lifelong learning department out of Dempsey. So this year, the whole department just did a reshift, and now it's this huge department. They're all non-trads. You have to be a non-trad, and then it's the honor society for it. So what we decided to do is, because they're part of our group, is we wanted to be able to support them. So like that's why we added like the pens to purchase
So,
the pens.
but Phi Beta Lambda is presenting today, and that's a club that NTSO sponsors. And I would assume that they get 2,340 to no, because I don't. Phi Beta Lambda is that an organization of NTSO, like a
I assume it's a separate organization. They've not come for funding before to this group.
Have you funded it? The NTSO funded it at the time?
We've never funded them before, no.
I was gonna say because they are in our budget hearings for today.
Yeah, the Omega Kappa is the one. I think that's actually the main honor society chapter. Yeah, that's the one we're put down for the
Do
pens.
you guys have the PPM?
Yeah, I do.
And
Let me see that.
well, I have entered almost all of the ones that are presenting today. This spreadsheet.
It's gonna be 64 tomorrow.
Sunny or?
Yeah, mostly sunny.
The maximum meal system is $20.
I'm gonna be having a pumpkin weekend.
It also says that travel is generally limited to 2,500 for.
I get free food, so I'm gonna be
Yeah,
for the whole day.
Sure.
How do we?
Well, I had to neglect my research for today, so tomorrow.
Generally, it's limited to 2,500, but they can ask for more.
Next.
But generally, there's a $2,500 limit.
That was one of the big things that we talked about last year. If it's in there for only $20 a day, it could be a consideration for that. And that's a cost that people, when allocations and sending people.
Has Oshkosh Telethon Society ever come for funding?
Nope.
Why is it telephone?
I assume not. Well, we're gonna run out of extra tabs here.
Can you just create a new one?
I don't know, there's a pasting problem with that.
Oh my gosh, scattered snow showers. November the 29th. We ready for snowboarding? Can I do it?
I hate winter sports.
Oh, talk to me.
The only winter sport I like is curling up under a blanket.
I thought you were gonna say curling is in the Olympic sport.
I do enjoy curling. I do enjoy curling.
I played it once, it's actually really fun.
What is it? Music Teachers Association?
I was a curler back in the day.
Yes.
They do.
They're here.
Oh.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Hi, got copies of your budget? Are they collated? All
There's 2 pages each.
right, and they're collated.
Actually,
You need a copy, don't you?
yeah.
There you go, you can have mine.
Just
Two sheets?
Yep. Do you have your budget spreadsheet on the one, that was just the total, and then all the line items?
No.
That's fine. Did they send it in?
I have it, yeah.
Okay, that's fine, you guys sent it into the account. All right, so this is the allocations committee. I'm Ryan Hackworth, I'm the chair of allocation. This is Nick Erd, he's the controller, Jim the advisor, and the rest is made up of faculty, students, and staff. So it's gonna be 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, you guys can just gonna go through, say what your club is, what you guys do, and then go into your budget proposal. So each line item, just break it down and explain how much you're asking for and why you're asking for that amount. And in the last 5 minutes, we're just gonna ask you questions in regards to your budget proposal. All right, go.
Okay. So we're the Oshkosh Collegiate Music Teachers Association. So basically, we're music students who are looking to start teaching or are teaching, and this group is to help us become better teachers and get ready to have independent studios when we graduate. So our first line item is for travel expenses. So there are 2 conferences that we would like to attend. First, there's the National Conference for the Music Teachers National Association, which is in Chicago next year. So we're asking for the registration fee and money for lodging, and also we'd like to use a fleet vehicle. The lodging is probably a higher estimate than it would be because since the conference is hosted at a certain hotel, there would probably be like a conference rate, which would be lower than the usual rate. But they didn't have that information on the conference website. So the same for the state conference, which is in the Wisconsin Dells. Lodging, the conference fee, registration fee, and money for travel. Then we have professional services. We'd like to bring in 2 speakers per year, 1 for each semester. And we don't know where these speakers are going to be from yet, so I put 75 since I don't think that they would be from further afield than, Illinois or Minnesota. Then we're going to hold 2 recitals for all of our students. And for that, we'd like to print programs. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And finally, we are asking for some money to cover membership for the members of the executive committee. That's basically all we're asking for. We're a very new organization. This is our 3rd year. So those things would, I think, really help us grow as an organization and increase interest in our organization.
Okay, and then for everybody else, that the total's in 3,290.
How much?
3,000.
3299.
Is there any questions for OCMTA?
What's membership like for yourself as far as how many students typically, like, do you guys have meetings frequently or?
We have bi-weekly meetings, and at the moment we have about 10 members, I believe. We've been growing quite a bit each year. The first year we had like 3, and then last year we had 5. So.
And it's directly part of a national association called the National Music Teachers Association. And then at the state level, it's the Wisconsin Music Teachers Association. And so this is the collegiate level of that organization. And so as far as being integrated into the community, we also have associations with, or things to do with, the local teachers associations. Like for Oshkosh, it's called the OA, Oshkosh Area Music Teachers Association. And then there's also one in Green Bay and one in Appleton as well, Fox Valley Keyboard Club. So we have a community network as well.
Any more questions? Thank you guys for coming.
You look like you have a question.
I have one question for you.
Me?
Well, I don't know who.
We have many people here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I submitted the proposal on the spreadsheet last night.
Yep.
But I sort of, I didn't know what the account number would be.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Okay.
We can look that up on this.
I didn't get it for it. It's fine.
Are you a new organization this year?
Not this year. I think we were OSA recognized.
Because I don't recall seeing an account number for you guys at all last year either. But we'll get you an account number. Or we'll work with the people who will get you an account number.
Do you have any more questions?
No.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, nice of you to show up. Yeah, thanks for coming.
I think the experts are up there too.
Oh, they are? Can you grab the next group?
Yeah, that's your job for the rest of the day.
Congratulations. It should be students for music.
Is speech, I have a question, is speech and debate,
They
the
joined now.
Oshkosh debate team?
Yes, they changed their name.
I thought it was speech club and debate club, and now they're combined.
But in the spreadsheet, what is it?
There were no two separate
Oh, there wasn't?
organizations
I don't
previously.
know.
There was no two separate? They are one.
They just changed their name to include speech and debate.
Music is outside, please.
Doug's old group,
Just
and they're
separate
expanding to
ownership, huh?
speech as well as debate.
Let me hear that Kelly Clarkson.
That'll go. Oh, okay.
What club's out there?
That's theirs.
Oh, okay. They don't have everyone here.
Oh, that's
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll make 10 minutes.
I gotta get some food. This is allocations, thanks for coming in person. I'm Nick, our controller. Ryan stepped out for a second, he'll be back in a little bit. Jim's our advisor, basically 15 minutes, 10 minutes is about telling us about your budget, individual line items, be as specific as you can. Don't read your mission statement, please. and then the last 5 minutes or so will be questions from the committee to you, so take it away.
First, I'll give you a much more general overview of the organization and what we do. The organization Students for Music administers and facilitates what's known as the Chamber Art Series, which is a concert series ranging anywhere from 4 to 6 professional music concerts every academic year. We bring in the musicians from assorted genres and actually from all over the world. This year, we were very proud last month to bring in 4 principal string players from the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra. Also later this year, we've got Crossroads Barbershop Quartet coming in. They're a group that just won the International Championship 2 years ago. So that's kind of what we do on a yearly basis. The budget that we're requesting has certain allotments that you'll see on the narrative summary. The first and most important thing that we request is $30,000 to cover the services of the artists. Generally, for bringing in 5 artists, the average contract will run for approximately $6,000. And it varies greatly per artist, per the name of the artist that you bring in, where you might be bringing them in from, as well as other assorted details. We're then looking at $500 for maintenance or repair, and in our group that actually goes to tuning the pianos. Tuning the grand piano that's in the music hall at this university costs roughly $100 per occasion that you do that. And since we are planning on having 5 concerts next year, it's $500 in fees. We also are requesting $500 in printing, which would go to advertisements that we put up all over campus, as well as the programs which are printed here at the university, as well as any other paper goods that we really would need. Then we're also looking at the food service contracts, which is generally a separate line item on the artist contracts that we work. Artists have the right to request food and drink. Like the standard for almost any artist that comes in is they request to have bottled water. They like to have that backstage. We've gotten some requests before for anything from they'd really like One group really wanted a pizza backstage. One group wanted sandwiches. Generally what we do in that instance is we tell them that they're responsible for their own food and that we make them an all-inclusive offer, but then that ups what we have to offer them in the artist fees. And lastly, we're looking now at $1,500 for advertising because this year we have entered into brand new negotiations for this group to start a sponsorship with the local Oshkosh scene, the arts magazine, as well as the Fox Valley scene and Wisconsin Public Radio. Currently, we're in the works of having at least their free public service announcements for our concerts, but we're also looking into having an actual advertising sponsorship with these groups that would run for every concert that we do. You'll see on our schedule of events that currently we're planning to have 5 concerts next year. It's the same format that we did this year, and actually they're listed are the 5 groups that we're bringing in this year. Berlin Phil being just a couple weeks ago. Next year we're looking at roughly the same format of having 5 concerts spread out over those given months. And lastly, if you would like to see it, I brought in an example of what the standard artist contract kind of appears to be, if any of you would request to see that, just so you get a rough idea. I know sometimes with these contracts it gets hazy and you might not know what I'm talking about. So I have an example if you'd like to see that. So that's a breakdown of what we're looking at.
Do you guys have an advisor that helps you with the contract stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Bruce Atwell, he's part of the music department. He's our faculty advisor.
Okay.
So any questions for students for music?
Just a couple. So the cost of your average ticket, what do you guys charge students, and then what do you charge community members?
Well, every UW-Oshkosh student is allowed in for free. And that's a service that's really important to us, and that's part of the reason that our revenues don't match what we request as much, is because we let the students come in for free, but it's important that we're able to do that. For general admission, it's $8, and then for seniors, it's $5. And what's the last category?
Children, 12 and under is $3.
Mm-hmm.
So,
kind of, what do you, roughly, what's the attendance percentage in an event for our campus versus community?
Well, for an example, Berlin Phil, we sold almost to 150 tickets. The hall seats are around 500, but 115 tickets were sold. And the hall seats are around 500, so I mean, it was a relatively big house compared to what is usually
What was the overall attendance?
150.
yeah, and I have a breakdown from the concert that we just put in October. If you'd like to take a look at it.
So 150 tickets, and then 115 were actually sold. So
No.
What was the
It
attendance?
was
It was just an estimate.
total attendance was 115, 77 of which were UWO students.
Yeah, we keep track
The
of
rest
of
were-
who it is.
Right, and we have a breakdown of each ticket category and then versus students. And also, I've neglected to mention, for students from other universities, they can also come at the $5 rate.
So like Fox Valley or anything like
Yeah,
that?
Ribbon, we had some Ribbon people at our last concert.
So is your total request the 3,200? So it's the 33 minus the 900?
No, it would be, the total request would be 33,000. I was looking over our narrative summary from the previous year, and they had it broken down the same way, where it was, they requested.
Yeah, but your projected sales typically come off of your request. So if you're
Because it's a plus.
if you're projecting that you're going to spend $33,000 and take in 900 in sales, really from the committee you need 32.1.
Right, okay, right. That's exactly.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
That's what I have it on my spreadsheet, is they're spending 33,000, but they net 32.1.
Yeah, sorry, neglected. Say
all
that
right.
clearly.
You're not accountants, you're music people.
Thanks.
Do any of your students in your group participate in these events at all? Like, I mean, working backstage?
Oh,
or
absolutely. It's
like runners or?
completely. Oftentimes too, besides these groups just coming in and giving concerts, they also include master classes, which are generally also free to the entire student body and the general public. And that's a really unique opportunity for some small student ensembles to get training from very high-class musicians. And then at the actual concert day itself, all of the ushers are group members. We have 2 permanent runners that are with the artists for as long as their duration at the university is, who stay with them and get them anything we need. And then we also have students do the introductions and speeches at the beginning of the concerts. It's all, everything is student run.
Any other questions? All right, thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you. Oh, good.
That's what I thought you were realizing. You're welcome. You're welcome. So you met Jeremy. He's in life there.
Don't worry about it. I get pre-med, pre-law mixed up, man. Everybody's taking trips for.
Yep. What else would I get, flat ones?
What's the healthy? Did you get the frozen Oreos? Because that was a princess request.
Yeah, I got everybody free.
So, I requested a second monitor yesterday.
Yeah,
For my budgeting.
Yeah?
Because I'm tired of printing, and I try to use a large thing.
I'm afraid that you're a little
I got
biased.
221s now, so I like to start we're trying to
Someone in
go,
there.
I don't print as much as we use.
Nailed it.
I also got juices for people who said they didn't want to have soda with their pizza.
I have Red Bull.
Okay, well, that's good too.
Thank you. The princess needs to Red Bull.
Well, okay, my roommate got a case of Red Bull because one of her songs is in the movie and she doesn't drink Red Bull, so she just gave it to me.
One of her
It's
songs was in.
Yeah,
One of her songs was
Wait, so she sings,
yeah.
produces a song,
Mhm.
and it was in a movie.
Yeah, it was like an independent film.
Oh.
That is
Yeah.
the most random thing.
And it was like sponsored by Red Bull Soundstage, so she had like this case of 24 Red Bull sent to the house, just out of nowhere. She's like, here you go.
I'll tell you this, maybe you'll appreciate this. So I talked to my son about Felix Baumgartner. Is everyone aware of what Felix did?
Yep.
He basically jumped out of outer space back into the Earth.
Technically it wasn't space, it was the troposphere, but.
It was a
Let's
stretch.
just, I refer to it for his understanding as inner space.
I just wanted to be smart.
Legit, I just want to sound smart. You
Well,
had 26
okay,
miles.
what would happen if you jumped out of the ISS?
Okay.
What?
What would happen if you jumped out of the ISS?
Technically you float around.
Upward floating. There's no way you can.
Yeah, they had to do it like at the edge where there's still gravity where you can fall.
Because he actually couldn't tell how fast he was falling because the air is so thin that nothing was flapping.
Yeah, and that's why the air is so thin, you can finally break the sound barrier, so terminal velocity is a lot higher.
So anyways, I tell him that, hey, this is what happened. This is the first time ever this guy jumped from 26 miles up. And he goes, is this the first time he did that? I should do something for the first time, like jump off the top of the slide in my playground. I said, you know, when people do things for the first time, they can get hurt. This guy, luckily, he didn't, but. So I imagine him now going to jump off the top of our house and claim that he has a world record for 5-year-olds.
Yeah, that's a bad idea to tell your child that.
And I broke the sound barrier jumping off the rope.
That would be impressive.
Did you see him when he jumped off? That was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well,
And he barely fell.
Okay.
He's like this.
a better picture. Two things that show you.
Right.
Look at Joe Kittering, who did this before. What he did this with last time was like basically he's like in a canvas suit and he just jumped out of this like canvas bag. And like he did it from like 20 or 14 miles up, so it was close to that. This guy has a space age space suit on, you know, jumping out.
It's pretty sad when Red Bull has a better space program than our nation does right now.
Well, in related note, SpaceX has contracts now to fly here to the space center. We have private companies making that, NASA can pay for a guaranteed amount. You know, they don't have to develop it. You know, they started it. They're using all the technology. But they cut out, if you watched it live, they cut out because they weren't sure if he was going to go splat or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was going too much.
They thought he was going to black out and then not be able to pull his chute.
Oh, they didn't have a chute hooked up to an altimeter?
I wanna know what it's like.
The
to
cylinder in your body, it's falling, like 300 and, it's terminal velocity, 300 miles per hour.
They said his top speed was 807. 807. I watched the Dateline thing on it.
You know what I
There's a lot going on there, and someone asked, well, how close was he to his landing? I don't think, when you got Earth, that's pretty good. If I land on Earth, I'm okay. Come find me. How does he know where he's gonna land?
Where was it, New Mexico or
Yeah,
Arizona or something like
he
that?
pretty much, you got a general vicinity, and they just
Yeah.
found him. I mean, it's not like they can pinpoint, especially when you're flying and you get taken, so. I digress.
I did this right. This number is 16.
Oh.
Alright.
Pause.
Hello. My name is Ryan Hackworth. I'm the chair of allocation. This is Doug Berg. He's the controller. Jim, our advisor, and the rest of the committee is made up of faculty, staff, and students. So you're gonna have 15 minutes, or let's do it 10 minutes. So go through just tell us what your club is, what you guys do, and then go into your budget proposal, and then talk about each line item and why you're requesting that amount.
Okay.
And then the last 5 minutes will be for questions.
Okay, my name is Sarah Spiegel, and I'm the treasurer of the Oshkosh Pre-Law Society here on campus. Essentially, as you can see in our mission statement, our goals is just to make sure that people that are interested in legal careers, interested in maybe going to law school, are prepared for that, kind of know what they should expect, and yeah, you have the resources available to them, to whether it's applying to law school or whatever else goes along with that. I guess I'll move right on to the narrative summary. We don't have too many line items that we're requesting. Most of our funds that we're asking for are consolidated into a few different categories. The first of which is travel, which is also the largest portion that we're asking for. I also want to point out that the way I designed this, there's an appendix in the back. So when you see Appendix A, you can reference that. That'll have the sources of where we got the information from, as well as the actual information. So take a gander at that if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll just move on. Fleet vehicle rental. We are planning to have 40 members attend this law school fair down in Madison. Actually they're going on Monday for this year, but we went last year as well. It was a big success. Everybody in the club really appreciated the opportunity to go. I think that there's a few different things to point out with the benefits for this. And it really goes by grade level. Freshmen kind of start to get introduced to the atmosphere of a law school. It's hosted, once again, at UW-Madison. It includes, going into an actual class, auditing a class that day, talking with professors, talking with admissions officers. That's a really big thing for a law school that a lot of people don't understand, is how early you have to start preparing just to apply. There are freshmen taking practice LSATs. There should definitely be freshmen, setting up their majors and minors in a way that's going to prepare them for the kind of reading and writing that the challenges that they're going to see while in law school. And so that's pretty much their benefit, is really getting kind of introduced to it. And we think that's really important. Sophomores and juniors get even a little bit more deep into it. They're talking to the admissions counselors for the specific schools that they want to apply to. They oftentimes get fee waivers. An average law school application cost is going to be about $100. And so by getting these waivers that make it half off or even free, you can apply to more schools. You have just more opportunities in general. Additionally, there are seniors who are currently in the process of applying. Once again, they're kind of just making sure that this is what they want to do, talking to the admissions counselors, getting that face-to-face time that will really help their application stand out. As to the money that we're asking for, you can kind of see the breakdown. I've done the calculations. I think it's pretty straightforward. I do want to point out why we chose an SUV rather than a 14-passenger bus, because that may be a question. I know that if you look in the appendix, that would have been more cost-efficient gas-wise. However, you have to go through a training to be able to drive it. It's $100 for a driver. We need 3, so it'd be $300 additional dollars. So it really wouldn't be cost-effective. It's better to get the SUVs. It's going to end up being cheaper in the long run. Is there any questions? I guess wait till the end for questions. Is that what you said? Okay. Oh.
Just from the calculation, the fleet vehicle, if I'm not mistaken, the gas price is included in that already, right?
No, I don't think so.
No, it is actually. The
If you rent the fleet
if
vehicle.
you want the fleet vehicle, the gas is included in your
They put the
57.
gas on for you.
So it's not just a charge that they're talking about here for, really?
The
That's good to
fleet
know.
vehicle rental is just, you don't have to actually, you're not renting it like a rental car, it's just you're paying for the gas and the depreciation on the vehicle, so you don't have to pay gas.
So do you want me to just make those adjustments and send it to you? You guys can do it. Okay, so it would just be the top part then. So it'd be $250 and then just sorry about the gas prices. I'm a little bit bummed because I actually calculated with inflation.
No, I see all of them.
Yeah, so I was got pretty excited about it.
I did know that.
Yes,
The
it
movie
was
gas
very
prices.
specific, but not necessary.
That's how I
You can
roll.
tell me where gas or oil prices will be in 10 months, I'd be happy to take.
Do you want to see the graph? There's a graph in the back. Check it out. But so the next item is printing. This is kind of just straightforward. This year we did the cost of brochures out of pocket, and it's not a huge cost, but it is something that we'd like to, have allocations fund us for. It's essentially, I think it's important. A lot of freshmen come in, a lot of whom are like, well, maybe I'm thinking about law school, or maybe I'm thinking about being, something related to the legal careers. And this is just a good way to get, the word of mouth out that we do have services here on campus that can help them with that. Again, the breakdown's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to point out the reason why we went. I did the breakdown saying we need 198, and I did 201 because it actually saves us about $10 to do the 3 extras, just so you know. Next item is food. I know at the budget meeting you guys were talking about first and last meeting, so that's what we've calculated for. We've calculated for slightly more people coming to the first meeting of the year, and then it goes down for the next 3, just because there's not 100% retention in our club. But that's the breakdown. We planned we did these costs for pizza. We're not saying that we're going to get pizza, but it'll be something that's equitable in cost, as pizza would be to each person. So that's that. Supplies. Supplies, we'd like money for making a poster. This year we didn't have any sort of display at Taste of Oshkosh or RecFest, and I felt that kind of hurt us. So next year I'll be putting together a poster for that, and the breakdown is as follows. Also, promotional candy from over there. There's nothing better to get people over to your table like free food. So that's what we have there, and you can see I broke it down in terms of Reese's peanut butter cups because I thought that was kind of fun. And then you have the total amount requested. It'll actually be it'll be $150 less than that. So it'll be whatever that is. And so that actually puts our cost. Say again? $12.70. Thank you. So $12.70 will be the cost, and that'll adjust obviously for the amount per member as well.
What's going to happen with that is we'll probably, because we don't actually deliberate today, but once we reach a conclusion on it, when we send you the information, I'll remind you that we're taking out the 150.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. And
I'll get out in your summer for it.
that's pretty much all I had to say. I just want to point out that we talked about it as a club. I know, and this is not a criticism of those other clubs, but some clubs feel that the best thing they can do is really inflate their estimated costs, and then because they expect that there's going to be some cuts. We just really thought that this was a better, more efficient way of just really showing you guys, and that's why we had such specifics, is what we're using each dollar for. So we really are planning next year to have about this amount of money. We hope that this is what we get, because we kind of took out that whole, got to cut them down, and we're raising up and you guys are raising it down and trying to meet in the middle somewhere. This is what we need, so that's really what I have to say about that. Questions?
First off, I'd just like to say thank you though. I've never actually seen a budget this specific before, and you can give maps where you're going. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Just one question though, with like your meetings and everything, you're estimating 50 people and 40 people for your second one. Has this been the numbers in the past, or is this what's just?
Yeah, so we've actually had a really big variety of numbers this year. And this is just for like the first and last meetings of the month. We expect that over the course of the actual semester, they're going to be up and down a lot more. For example, we had a social the other night where we had about 18 people in attendance, and then we had a seminar for the club as well talking about healthcare law, and we had 47 people in attendance. So we're seeing a lot of fluctuation in who comes to what. We hope to kind of make that more consistent as the year goes on. But it kind of, again, becomes what people are interested in. If they're really interested in, talking with admissions people, then we get a lot of people to those because they're nervous about it or whatever. And then when we have things more like socials, you get a few less people. And then usually the first and last meetings we get the most because it's more fun, good way to meet people and whatnot. So that's why we have these numbers here, but we'll see some up and down between those 2 meetings.
So, but you're fairly certain you're going to get that many people for your first and last one?
Well, yeah, we hope so. This year for our first one, we had lower numbers than we had in the past. I think we had I don't even remember the exact total, but Also, and this is just something we want to work on as an organization, but really not only retaining the members like I talked about earlier, but really recruiting more members, and that's what the brochures are going to be for as well. A lot of people don't know usually until their sophomore or junior year that we even have a pre-law society on campus. And then they're already in the process of applying, they really want to get involved, and so this is a way to kind of get the initial individuals here on campus to come out.
Is there any more questions for pre-law society?
It's not really a question, it's just a reminder. For like food stuff like that, we actually have food contracts. So like, I don't know, is Papa John's one of them? I thought it was Don.
Yeah, that's what done.
They give trees, you should ask, they don't.
We have specific pizza prices, so even though like you got the $15.99 for a large pizza, it's not that for us.
Okay,
So
yeah.
just we'll take that into account when we do it. So
Sure.
we make sure it's, but any other questions? No? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you guys at 12:15 for Spanish Club.
Alright.
Thanks for your time.
Just want to go? Oh, there's.
Yeah, I'm not the budget officer, so should be able to tell you more specifics. All right, take it easy, guys.
Can you see if the Oshkosh Community Society is outside, please?
I know. I'm busy. She's got a rifle.
That was they did have a higher cost last year, but that was a really good budget.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Because we trimmed down a little bit
I've
last
never
year.
seen so many budget Reese's Peanut Butters.
Although I am gonna say that budgeting for the gas prices on a moving scale like that, like if you compare.
And gave the calories for it. So there was also a health factor that was involved.
You guys can take a seat. Do you have the 15 copies? You can just pass them around.
Thanks, man.
There you go.
So Oshkosh games and stuff.
OGS. Oh, let's see, we're heading right over there. Oh, shit.
You have also
Thank you, sir.
All right, while they're all getting settled, I'll get started. My name is Brian Hackworth. I'm the chair of allocation. This is Nick Erb. He's the controller. Jim, our advisor, and the rest of the committee is composed of students, faculty, and staff. So you guys are going to have 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, the first 10 minutes, you guys are just going to go through, say what your club organization is and what you want to do, and then continue into your budget proposal. So that's just breaking down the line items, how much you're asking for, and why you're asking for them. And then after that, we're just going to go into questions if the committee has any questions. All right, go ahead.
All right. OGS, otherwise known as Oshkosh Gaming Society, is a organization where we get gamers together, whether they be more serious gamers or casual gamers, and we just have a nice, calm, fun environment where people can relax and play games during the school year. And we meet every Thursday from 6 to 11 in Reeve. So we have a large window of time where people can come, they can go, they can stay the whole time, and they can just come play games. We buy games and we keep them at the library so students can check them out at any time through the library. And for every meeting, the officers pick up as many games as we can carry and we bring them to the meeting so the students can just show up. They don't have to worry about bringing anything. Even if the students would like to bring something, they can, and people are always willing to play games. It's just a fun environment where students can relax and do something they enjoy.
All right. Well, I guess we can just go through the narrative. So I forgot to list $60, but we want $60 for rents and leases. This is mainly used to stuff like projectors for when we hold large events that require projector equipment.
It's in the
it's in the spreadsheet.
It's in the spreadsheet,
Yeah.
it's not on the cover sheet.
Then there's supplies, which is the bulk of what we request because we use that money to buy games for the library. And it's solely used for building up the library of games for the campus, for the entire campus. With software, we just recently got a Wii, and we keep that in the SAC, or the SLIC. And we want to continue building up the video game library so we have a variety of options that people can pick from when they come to play video games. We have pizza parties to get more gamers to come and just have more time for games so they don't have to worry about dinner. We can feed them.
Yeah, we already have somewhere every meeting in between 80 and 100 members come throughout the meeting to come play games, and Especially this year, OGS has really blown up. It's probably about double the members we had from last year. It's gotten a lot more popular.
With special events, we usually like to hold tournaments because we're gamers and we like to compete, and we like to compete for prizes. So it's just another form of incentive to get people to come play games with rewards.
Some of our tournaments are for bragging rights, but sometimes we like to hold some for prizes so that the gamers can actually get something feel extra proud for their achievement and have a lot of fun, and to bring in students who also normally don't come to OGS and maybe might be interested in that as well.
That's about it for the narrative.
We plan special events throughout the year, as we said, with stuff like the video game tournaments, but our special events aren't always video game tournaments. We have Bring a Gamer, which is something we usually do in the spring semester, where everyone who comes to OGS tries to bring a friend or a couple friends who normally doesn't come, and we have a raffle with a couple prizes, and that also helps build our community and shows a nice place where students can, of course, relax. And we also do stuff like outdoor games where students can be active and play games like Capture the Flag or Ultimate Frisbee we did this year. And then we did Dungeon Master training, which was for students who really like playing games like D&D and tabletop games, and it helped people who normally they like to play D&D but they might not necessarily know how to do it. So we had a couple volunteers to help teach, which I was actually a part of. I actually learned how to be a DM. It was really exciting. But
How many games are in your library right now?
I know we have over 70. I was looking at those a couple days ago. I think we have somewhere in between 70 and 100.
Yeah. So you guys said that, because here it says more towards board games, but are you guys leaning more towards buying video games with this money then? Or
With the software portion.
Oh, okay.
So still a lot of it is going to be board games and card games, but we're starting to expand a little bit the software
Try to
because
cater to all types of gamers.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who talked to us the past couple of years at Taste of Oshkosh, for example, who were huge into video games and not so much into board games. So we were trying to expand to kind of include those people as well, so they don't feel like they can't be there or left out.
Did you guys say you had a Wii?
We do have a Wii.
Where did you get the Wii?
It was bought last year. I'm not sure where they bought it, but I know it was bought last year by the other president, and yeah, when he willed it down to me, he was just like, it's in the slick, it's in the locker. I was like, oh, okay.
So what do you guys use?
Was that paid for with allocations funds, or?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think it was part of our budget.
Was it? Oh, then I'm not sure. It might not have been.
Where would you guys play with the video games then if you did get them, or if you start buying more towards them?
So far we've been setting up in our room one of the tables and aside, and I've so far, because we don't have a TV, I've been bringing mine, and we've set up a video game station in the room.
So to keep you in Reeve, what would have to change so you guys could operate here?
We do operate.
We do operate here.
We just store our games in the library.
Yeah, just
Like your video games downstairs.
Yeah, the video games are downstairs.
We just bring them up here.
Me and a couple of the other officers, every time before OGS show, because OGS starts at 6, at 5:30 we meet at the library and grab as many games as we can hold and check them out and walk them over here. Yep.
You say you have to bring your own TV?
Yeah, right now I've been bringing my own TV. We don't have one as of yet.
Doesn't Reeve have TVs?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Is what we can do.
We were looking into maybe.
The tug is a
something
space
like
that
that
we're looking at possibly changing in the future, including some new stuff, so.
You got all those flat screens everywhere to take one of those? Don't actually.
Yeah, I can't.
Don't take it.
We don't
That
have
is completely off the record.
Strike from.
Yeah, because I know when they started with the Wii last year, they just used the old, the former president used his TV, and the screen's like, I don't know, we don't have one, so I guess bring one in, and I was like, oh, okay.
Probably run it through the projector.
We were trying to figure out, I was looking into projector rentings and how much that costs and stuff like that.
Done it before.
Any more questions for the Oshkosh Game Society? I got one not related. Do you guys play D20 or normal?
Like,
Can you keep this professional?
like Roll20, like the website Roll20, or just like
The future version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, dude.
the future version?
D20 modern?
Yeah.
Yeah, we play that.
That's good. Okay, that's it.
It's like,
Yeah, that's a good game.
I'm new to the Dungeons and Dragons world. I've only ever played Pathfinder.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Pathfinder, that's all right, yeah.
Munchkin's pretty fun too.
Yeah, Munchkin.
Yeah, there you go.
We only have the board game Munchkin right now, and on our, because we set up a wish list, on the list is one of the card Munchkin games.
Yeah, come and suggest games for us to play.
No GURPS players? No GURPS players?
We do have a GURPS player. He's looking to start DMing.
It takes quite a bit of knowledge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons is very professional.
This is supposed to be fourth edition? I could.
Oh no, it's terrible. I still play with the originals.
I still like the 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
You know.
They just ruined it after that.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't played in years, but I was playing in the 70s when it came out.
Hardcore, write down the rules, pencil and paper
Yeah.
in the game. as
All
opposed to-
imagination.
So if you were gonna play an electronic version, do they have enough that's comparable? where
Gaming
you get a
nerds,
similar
gamers, a bad
experience
name.
without having to?
Oh my gosh.
Or is that
Do that, do what now?
Is that against the purist view?
You do not play Dungeons and Dragons on anything electronic.
No.
You can. I mean, there are.
I mean, there are some.
But that is one of the arguments in the gaming community is people that play internet games, they call themselves these gamers, and people that are just specific pen and paper, they don't like that. They consider themselves gamers.
Original.
So there's a
That's Civil War.
I actually do both. I mean, I played in the 70s when D&D came out, and I played all through the 80s.
You gaming
And I
people give
actually
nerds
play
a
a
bad
little bit of
name.
computer stuff now, huh?
You gaming people give nerds a bad name.
Yes, we do.
That's my game.
What is it?
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft?
You do not
Love
play
it.
World of Warcraft.
I do play
Why
World
would
of
you play that when you
Warcraft.
can play Star Wars Galaxy?
What?
Star Wars Galaxy?
Oh, come on, man.
Never been in Star Wars.
I don't play it anymore, but I used to.
I didn't watch
Oh,
Star
they
Wars
did
as a
such a
kid.
terrible release on that game. I hated that game.
Terrible games.
No, have you ever played the Underworld, the Secret World?
Secret World, yeah.
That's a great game.
I played Dark Ages for like 6 years. I ran a guild.
Camelot?
And then I did Camelot.
Yeah, I had it.
For about 6 years, I ran a guild.
See, that one I had like 7 accounts.
I actually had a guild I ran for a total of 10 years, and we were a multi-gaming guild. We did WoW.
What
But WoW
server
was
were you
two
on?
children. There's two
Yeah, it
children in
really
that
is.
game.
It really is.
So that's
Yeah.
why you're playing with cartoons? I don't like it.
So where were we on in Camelot?
Huh?
Where were we at?
Ingrid is where I started.
We had, at one point, I would
Al,
say.
I played
a long
Al.
time ago.
Al mids. I wouldn't play him. I just would not.
See, I was on the other side.
Freaking overpowered. They were loved by Mythic. Oh.
The only class I crossed over to play on the other side was the Warlock when it came out OP originally.
I was actually the first level 50 merc in the game.
Wow.
In the game, on all servers. It was first level 50 merc. That was the top level, first epic.
At one time, I had main computer,
was
secondary
hard to
computer.
Progressive.
Badass.
You know what game I think had potential, but I didn't like in the beginning is Aeon. Did you ever play that?
I checked it out, but I never really got into it. I'm playing, my best friend, who was my second, he's running a guild now in Guild Wars, so I go and occasionally log on if I have
You can't
time.
even jump.
Huh?
You can't even jump.
Yes, you can. The new Guild Wars?
Yeah, the first I played in the beginning.
Oh, no, this is the new one that's out. It's an MMO now.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't stand the first one because you by your little self in a zone. You know, you weren't even interacting with nobody. Where now it's like a little MMO.
Yeah, I play Minecraft.
Oh, do you?
No, I still don't understand Minecraft. I haven't gotten into that. So what is Minecraft?
I have an Atari
You don't
2600.
like
Yeah, I heard you talking about that, man. When you said that, I felt my hands just go like this, man. 'Cause, I mean, as a kid playing that thing, oh my God, my hands be
I have
killing
an
me.
ergonomic joystick for it too.
Yeah, yeah. When I heard you say that, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I got a 360, so. Yeah, they're 2600, man.
This conversation
God, man, my
really took
hands
off.
are so bad.
Let's get out of the hand.
Yeah, well, really.
Nerds.
But still, the best game ever known to man is always and forever will be EverQuest 2.
No, I'd say EverQuest was way.
Yeah, it's in a binder.
Okay, I'm already so excited.
So this is the Spanish club. Can we speak English, I hope?
I hope so. Okay. Is that right?
No, English, please.
Can you present your budget in Spanish, please?
What?
Can you present in Spanish, please?
Jenny.
Make it go back and forth really fast.
There's 15.
They need all.
Just pass them around.
Where are you guys putting extra?
We just killed like 10 guys.
I don't think
Who needs the rainforest?
I don't think we have a filing system at this point. I think we're just kind of going over there.
That is actually very sophisticated.
It looks
Is that your filing
Either
system?
rotated.
Don't look at me.
Last year we did
I
these.
did the chair.
Hey, don't look at me. I am the
He
chair.
is.
Wow,
Don't
double
worry.
spaced everything.
I told you that. I tried to
The
first.
finger pointing.
I told
See
you.
what you mean about the rainforest?
Mistake. But,
They're
I
overrated.
told you that I tried to French day when they got mad at me. He took their numbers. He's like, we don't do this.
Alright, we're gonna get started. I'm Ryan Hackworth, I'm the chair of allocation. This is Nick Hurd, he is the controller. That's Jim, he's our advisor, and all these other people are either students, faculty, or staff. So you're gonna have 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, you're just gonna go through what your club is and what you guys do, and then go right into your budget proposal and break down each line item and ask why you're requesting a specific amount for each line item. Last 5 minutes, we're just gonna ask questions like crazy. Go ahead.
The purpose of Spanish Club is to expand the knowledge of the Spanish language and to educate our members on the different customs of various speaking Spanish countries. The tightened alliance allows us to connect with the different students to help them with their Spanish through tutoring and advising services. It encompasses a friendly and relaxing environment because a lot of students, they feel like they can't talk in Spanish because they'll get embarrassed. So like we try to get them to break that barrier so that they're able to talk and actually learn Spanish, which is the most important part of Spanish is that you can talk, not to write. So we try to get that encompassed into our program. We also provide students with information about studying abroad programs, and we use many different various techniques such as game nights, bi-weekly conversation nights, cooking nights, and all those different things so they can integrate the culture. Overall, the Spanish Club shows the importance of language, culture, and diversity through team building, language, art, and history. Okay. And our first line item is travel, because we want to go to the Chicago Art Museum this upcoming spring, well not this spring, but next year's spring, so that we can get them to know the Spanish heritage through the different various art forms in the museum. The cost of a guided tour fee, which we probably want to do since that place is so big, you want someone to like be able to walk you through all the different areas, and I emailed them and they said that they could just take us through the art of like the Spanish heritage and everything. And so that would cost about $540 because we have a pretty big club this year. It's over 40 people, but our typical meetings is 30 to 35. So we're asking like about 30 next year. So that would be about $540. Furthermore, we'd like to hire a bus. I know I was talking to Nick Erd, and he said that it would be about $500 if we took a bus there. So then that way we could get there and back $500. So it would be a total of $1,040. And so that would just be a great little trip so that we can get the members to go to the Art Institute to build a cultural base to understand the language. So that would be like the whole purpose of going to the museum. And so we have a line item of food here. We want to get them to know the different cultural foods of that area. So one of the first things we're going to do is the Taste of Oshkosh. And so what we need to do is we need to pass out like chicle so we can get the people to actually get excited about the club. And there's actually historical importance of the chicle because in the Mayan culture in the 2nd century, the Mayan people actually chewed chicle, which derives from the sapodilla tree. This may spark some interest if you tell them about the different cultural heritage of chicle. And so we want to buy two 300-piece tubs because there's usually a lot of people at the Taste of Oshkosh. Therefore, it can reach out to even more people for a club, and that's only $30 for all that gum. So that's pretty nice. And we would like to order 8 Papa John's pizzas. I know that's like one of the things like, first meeting and the last meeting of both semesters. So we just included that in there so you guys can see that. It's actually good that we have enough pizza for everyone because we had a big turnout this year. It was over like 36 people at our first meeting. And then furthermore, we'd like the cooking night so we can show the people the different dishes of the Spanish heritage. So I have the breakdown of the different dishes that we want to make with each little item of how much it would cost because I looked up on Walmart for all these prices. And so it continues on to the next page. We want to make tortilla de patatas and guacamole, and then lastly we want to order burritos, all from Walmart, so that way they can learn the best way possible, like by eating the food and learn the culture.
So that's the breakdown for that. The total cost for that is $156.50, which is pretty good if you think about it to feed that many people. And one of our next line items is the rent and leases, which is $510 because we want to rent kayaks for our students because that helps them to get a cultural base because I know kayaking is pretty prevalent in Spain. And it's just a nice team building experience integrated into our mission statement. We would like to rent 30 single kayaks for a cost of $10 per hour. And that's just like through the rec center. Second of all, we need to get movie nights and projectors. So for 14 of our meetings next semester, we would want $15 is for each one to have internet connection, which would be used for like different culture nights and showing them movies from foreign languages. And this can further engage our members to actually know the Spanish culture and play the games, like seeing it on the wall instead of us just talking to them. They can actually see it visually, so they can actually learn better. So that's $15 times 14 meetings, which would be $210 for that. And then for supplies, we're asking for $493. I have a breakdown. It goes crafts, piñatas, and lighthouse nursing cards. But start off with crafts. We want to order a bunch of sombreros so that we can decorate them and just like a team building experience. And it's also part of the culture because sombreros are pretty Spanish culture-y. And so we have the breakdown of the different items that we'll need for each cost, and that's all from Walmart. And then we have piñatas, which is actually one of the big things down there. And we have the breakdown for each of those. If you can see it all there, all from Walmart. And then 35 to 40 people. So we have the candy and all the ingredients that we need for that. And then we want to do some things throughout the community so we can actually outreach our Spanish club and make it part of the community. So we want to go to Lighthouse Schoolhouse and help teach them Spanish there. So we want to integrate some craft making, and furthermore, we'd like to reach out to the nursing homes and make some Christmas cards for them. So we like $50 for supplies to get different items such as construction paper, but we also need $100 more because construction paper can be pretty expensive. We want to get craft paper as well, and we should have glue left over from sombrero making, so therefore we can still use that left over. And then it'll be $100 in total for all those. So that would be just something to get our name out in the community. And then we have our next line item, which is prizes, which is $210. We want to encourage our student members to keep coming back. So therefore we want to do prizes at each 6 of our game nights. And each prize would be valued at $35, and then it would all be from breakdown items such as Walmart, like a shirt, and school supplies for $35 worth for 6 of our game nights, which would be $210 in total. And then lastly, we have our printing and duplicating state, which we have the breakdown there, brochures, agendas, and buttons. So the brochures would be $15 because 15 cents each, and this is all information from Copy This. So then we have the agendas, which is 11 cents per copy, 40 copies for 24 meetings, which is $105.60. And then we have buttons, which is 35 cents times 200, so it's to get our name out in the community and get people more excited about the Spanish Club. So that's the buttons there for $70. And then so with all this together, we were asking for $3,095, which just sounds like a lot, but when we really use it throughout the whole year, from all of our different things, this year we had to work with a budget. We didn't have any money this year for our budget, so we just had to use a lot of money out of our pocket. So we just wanted to make sure next year, no one has to worry about using their own money.
Yeah, kind of like you guys depleted your reserves, covering some of the things that happened last year. This year's kind of depleted ours. We had a little bit of money saved from fundraisers over the past couple of years. We won't be able to do this again next year, which is why one of the reasons why this amount is a little bit higher. We won't have any money to supplement.
And I said something else that last year we had about 5 members that came to every meeting, and so we only had 5 people that were enrolled in our meetings, and now we have about 40 people that come to every meeting. So by having more money, it's going to allow us to make sure that we can keep people coming to meetings, and they have fun when they come to meetings. We try and do things that we can get people involved and make sure that they are learning about the culture and about the language, and they're getting time to practice the language. And I guess with the little money that we have, we're doing what we can this year, but it'd be nice to have more money next year so we're able to keep people getting involved with the Spanish Club and make sure that it stays enrolled at least 40 people.
Are there more questions for the Spanish Club?
Do you do any fundraising for the club? I saw something for like an outside group, but do you do something?
We have done some fundraising for the club already this year. We plan to do more. Jenny can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, like for the end of the year dinner, we have $5 dues for members so that they don't have to pay at the end of the year. But furthermore, we like to do like puppy chow sales, so that goes towards like T-shirts and all those good stuff for the end of the year dinner too.
Yeah, we did a puppy chow sale in the beginning of this year and made a decent amount of money. And then we also have T-shirts, so we're making a profit off of those. And we're kind of in the process of figuring out a Culver's night where you can go and pass the trays out so you can get some money for that. And those are some of the things we've done so far.
I know. All right, is there any more questions for Ms. Matchfield? Thank you, Mr. Gomez.
Thanks. Do you have a return message you want me to deliver?
No, sorry, I didn't get to it.
It's okay.
Too busy being sure about it.
Well, la-di-da.
Thank you.
Yes, to keep that, thank you, people.
Looks like here's the extra, there's some more out there.
Here are the extras.
Extras can go
In the extra
on
pile?
top in the extra pile.
Yeah.
And I'll put the other ones in the extra pile as well. So where are you gonna go with those?
It's gonna be a big box. Really cool box.
Will go.
Can I decorate some box?
A sticky note, we'll use the sticky note system next time, I love sticky notes.
Guys, we're almost halfway done. And one of these people is
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a familiar story.
Yeah.
The face I've never seen.
Well, no, I'm just saying that when he came in, it was
It's much more famous than that.
the forest green.
Is it two again? Okay, while they're getting passed around, we'll do the same instruction again. Hello, I'm Ryan, controller of allocation. This is the chair, this is the herd, the controller. That's Jamie Advisor, and the rest is students, faculty, and staff. So you're gonna have 15 minutes to go through your budget. The first 10 minutes, just go through what your club does, and then after that, just go into your budget proposal in each line item and break down why you're requesting that amount in each line item, and then go into more details. The last 5 minutes will be for questions. All right, go ahead.
Well, basically,
Mission statement.
our mission, alright. Our mission for OSSA is, like, when it comes down to it in its core, is community outreach. We try and get secular students and even secular faculty to come to our organization and like have a place where they can talk and share freely among people who have something in common with themselves. And this includes atheists, agnostics, and humanists, and other free thinkers. And one of the biggest points for us is trying to get community awareness of secular students, and ways that we do that is through charity events that we do, discussions, yes, where we invite, we hold a public forum, like we pick a topic and we ask other organizations to come and talk to us about it, and to get diverse views and opinions on it. And our budget just reflects how well we try and do.
Mm-hmm. So with the rents and leases, that's for projectors, so we can have visual aids to just kind of help describe what we're trying to discuss at that specific meeting. For the professional services, we want to use that to hire a band to have a celebration for in the end of the year.
We've been having like an annual festival called Festivus, and Not sure if you ever watched the Seinfeld episode. Yes. And we try and do that in December to kind of like commemorate the end of the year and like try and
Give
include
a secular alternative to celebrate.
Exactly.
And to make these events successful, we need to do a lot of printing and a lot of advertising. So we see our posters up on campus a lot. And we also like to cater events, which is why we need food to make that happen.
It's easy to get people to discussions when we said that we have free food.
And then the prize and awards is a new item for us. We had a charity idea where people pay to be a participant in the charity, and that's the money that we use to donate. And we use the prizes as an incentive to get more people to want to participate in the charity event. That's it.
Sure. Is there any questions for the Oshkosh Secular Student Alliance? Seeing none, thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, so now the hockey club. Then we get paid. I'm confused about hockey club. How much do they charge for tickets to their games? Because they put revenues in their budget of $22,000, and that wasn't supposed to be touched.
I would guess that's probably a typo.
How do you typo a full line item? Like it wasn't like they.
Well, they're gonna present. We can ask them.
22 million.
They have, I've been to one of their games. They took the boys to the free one, and it's, they get a pretty good. I don't know if we.
Are they gonna bring 22 grand in revenue in?
They may also be taking in their revenue. I don't know. I'd ask them.
Yeah, you'll have to ask them.
Yeah, I made the mistake of reclining it once, and it was like.
We should be ever presenting sit in it.
And then when you go down, and then when you go back to the normal position.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a lose-lose. You gotta keep moving.
Game days.
Oh, you got a game tonight?
Yep, it's our
Sweet.
Pink the Rink game.
Alright,
We're at
hello,
YMCA.
welcome to the Allocation Committee. My name is Ryan Hackworth. I'm the chair of Allocation. This is Nick Erd. He's the controller, and that's Jim, the advisor. Everybody else on the committee is either students, faculty, or staff. So you guys are gonna have 15 minutes, and then the first 10 minutes, just go through, your, just state what your club is and what you guys do, and then go into your budget proposal and just go through each line item and say why you're requesting that amount of money. And then at the end, we'll just ask you guys some questions.
Alright, that sounds good. So basically we're the club hockey team. Well, we have our mission statement on the back of our front cover.
Yeah, you don't need to read it.
Okay,
It's
alright.
kind of general, yeah, because
Of the club?
Yes.
So basically we play hockey and we're in the ACHA, which is a club hockey organization throughout the nation. There's 3 levels to it. There's D1, D2, and D3. We're in the D2. We aren't in any Indian conferences, but we do play basically from the start of the semester to about March, depending on regionals and other stuff like that. We have practices once a week, and when we do have games, it's usually 2 on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. Basically the general overview of our club.
I just like to add on top of playing club hockey against other universities around the area, we also help out with the youth hockey program here in town. 4 or 5 of our members go to practices 2 to 3 times a week working with the youth hockey organization here in town. And we also help with evaluations, placing the kids on either teams based on ability. So that's how we kind of give back to the sport as well, locally.
Okay, so starting to look at our budget, the first thing we'll look at is our revenue. We expect to take in about $22,380. The majority of that comes from player dues. We expect our players to pay $750 a person. And on top of that, we expect to make $2,000 in sponsorships, as well as around $1,000 in admissions. We charge, $2 per person? It usually comes out to about $100 a game we make. And also we have apparel orders where we make a couple $100. Then our travel expenditures. Travel is one of our bigger expenses. this year expect to cost us about $10,000. And we have a table that lays out our total travel, like the miles and the ice time it costs. So for away games, if they are far away and we want to grab a hotel, we have the hotel cost there. Usually comes out to about $480. We do have one bigger trip, Iowa City Marquette. It's going to be like our 3-game weekend where we stay for more than one night, so that's why that cost is a lot more. We expect to take the fleet vehicles from facilities. They're small buses and trailers. And yeah, there's basically just the overview of all the costs. We do practice at the YMCA on 20th Avenue, and ice is very expensive, and it usually comes out to about $150 per hour. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's $150 an hour. Our practices are an hour and a half, so $225. So every time we practice, it's $225 out of our player pocket due to the fact that we don't have a university facility to practice. So even to practice, that's what makes everything so expensive. Really, ice time is probably 85% of our budget. So to practice and play games is very costly.
And we do practice 1 to 2 times a week, and it's hard to stay in shape with that much. So we are looking to maybe add a couple practices this year. We did mention that.
Yeah, we currently practice once a week. Next year we're looking to practice twice. Most teams, well, such as UW, they have a rink on campus. They get to practice more just because it's part of their intramural program as well. So we're looking to, to remain competitive, just to get ice time twice a week instead of once.
Whenever we host games, we have to provide our own referees. So that's what comes out to, for each home game, the regular referee is $125 plus travel. We pay for their gas to get to the games. And we need to provide 3 of those. And we also are looking to pay our coaches this year. And this is something new because our current coaches are there for now and they're committed to the team, but when they leave, they feel like if we want to attract additional coaches, that having that salary there will help attract better coaches. I took the liberty of emailing out to all the other club presidents within the state and got a general overview of what they pay their coaches. The private schools ranged up in the upwards of $6,000 for the head coach, and the majority of the other schools between $2,000 and $4,000. So we came up with paying our head coach $2,000 a year and our one assistant coach $1,000 a year, which we think is very fair, and our other coaches agreed. So that's one of our new additions for this year. Miscellaneous services. We do like to take care of our jerseys. We just got them this past year. We wash them every weekend after game weekends. It's about $8 per load. Throughout the entire year, it comes out to $120. For printing, we like to have game rosters and posters we put up around the campus. It comes out to about $371 for the entire year. Food and service contracts. When we travel, we make our players pay for their own food, but when we have banquets, we'd like to provide food for prospective players and parents and all of them. So we got that out to about $450. You can see our recruitment event will be about $250, and our end of the year banquet will be about $200 for that. A couple miscellaneous expenditures for this next year. We're looking at adding practice jerseys. That comes out to we need about 26, and that comes out to $10 a person, or $10 a jersey, and that's about $260. We'd like to get a stick bag from when we travel to keep all of our sticks together. That's about $70. New socks for all the players. Those get a little bit worn out faster than the jerseys do, so we need those every year. That's about $1,000. Warm-up jackets. For the additional, we expect about 12 new players on our team next year, so that's going to come out to about $600 for the new players. The current players will keep their jackets. And senior jerseys, we like to give out for the graduating seniors. We'd like to buy them a jersey so that they can have it when they graduate, and that'll be about $275. And one of the things we want to note, we are asking our players to pay $750 to play in the club, but that's just touching the base of what they pay to play this sport. Hockey's a very expensive sport, and on top of the $750 player due, we expect them to, or they are required to provide hockey sticks, and hockey sticks are not cheap. I typically go through 4 or 5 sticks a year. Sticks range from about $150 to $250. They're very expensive, so that adds up. We require our players to have black helmets and black jersey or black greasers. So players that come from other schools might need to go and purchase new equipment, and that's going to be an additional of about $300. Skate sharpenings, people usually get that about every weekend for games. It's $5 a sharpening, 21 games, comes out to about another $100. Travel and food on away weekend, since we expect them to provide for their own food, and sometimes if it's close enough, we have them drive their own cars. Comes out to about $270. These are all just estimates and gas prices. We do travel to the Y, which is about 15 minutes from campus, so gas about a half hour. They do a half hour drive about twice a week to get there, so it does add up. And then our schedule for next year, we have no idea what it's going to be. This is what we think it will come out to. We're hoping to get about 30 games. We're not really sure, just because scheduling doesn't really start for a couple months, so we're kind of put in a tough spot right now. But this was our expected schedule for next year. And that's pretty much everything, I believe. Yep.
Is there any questions for the hockey club?
Yes, so you have total expenses listed on the spreadsheet you gave me at $37,777. And then you are expecting to bring in $22,380. So the amount of the request that you're asking is $15,397.
Yes.
Okay, so the total budget request is $15,397.
Can you say it again?
$15,397, and that is from, their total expenses is around $38,000, and they're bringing in $22,500, so the difference is what they're expecting, so. Okay, that was my, because you sent in $22,000 in revenue, I'm like, who's making $22,000, but.
You should see volleyball.
Yeah.
So you guys got a budget this year to get helmets, you guys get the helmets this year?
We don't have team helmets,
Yeah, it's all individual, pay at your own cost.
Yeah, we do provide, we get stickers for
Was
that.
that in this budget last year? Did you guys budget that last year?
Last year we,
Team jerseys.
Yeah,
we got the jerseys
I
last
thought helmets were in there too.
Maybe
Or
that
is
was
that, or is that a
the-
different
that could've
group?
been
I
right.
just see travel as the
I know
only
there's
thing in
four.
here.
Might have been rugby.
The jerseys with you guys. You guys got your new, yeah, we saw them.
yeah, they're sharp, they're cool.
And did you guys also get the helmet set from last year as well?
No, we did not get helmets last year.
That's not these guys.
That wasn't done?
There was
it
some-
might have been
there's another
lacrosse
group.
or
It was a big thing, so.
Rugby or something.
Okay, yeah.
Is there any more questions for the hockey club? Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks.
Good luck at your game today.
Thanks,
Thank you.
gentlemen. And ladies.
I was listening. Alright, well that is the last one. Lunch break.
Lunch break until 1:30.
Correct. And the pizza's gonna be coming at 1, so we have a little bit of time.
I think it was the, what's that, lacrosse? I think it was the lacrosse club.
Lacrosse or rugby?
So,
Allocations, I'm Ryan Hackworth, I'm the chair of allocations, this is Nick Hurd, he's the controller. Jim is our advisor, and all these other people are either students, faculty, or staff. So you're gonna have 15 minutes to go over, or to talk about, or we're gonna have 15 minutes total. 10 minutes is just gonna be spent, you're just gonna go through and talk about what your club is and what you guys do, and then go through your budget proposal, like each line item, break it out, say how much you're asking for and why you're asking for that amount. And then the last little bit, we're just gonna ask you any questions that we have about your budget proposal.
I did have a question prior to your presentation. You guys did not have a budget for this year currently, correct?
We have one for this year.
Do you have a budget from prior years?
No, we had some problems with that. Like
So
year
for
before.
this current school year, you do not have a budget, but you're.
No, this one we do.
Okay.
Is it not show?
I don't have a spreadsheet for them from prior years, but anyway.
Yeah, because it was not this current year, but the previous
Okay.
year. We weren't because our treasurer wasn't available. So our advisor filled in, and then he found out that wasn't allowed, so we didn't have any money for last year.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so Phi Beta Lambda, also known as FBLA, PBL, it's a college branch of like Future Business Leaders of America type group. And what we do out here on the campus is it serves as like a general business club, but it's open to all majors. We've advertised to a few other select groups, but it's marketed towards just general business students. And what we try to do is we hold meetings where we can have professionals come in and speak, or we'll have previous alum of UW-Oshkosh or Phi Beta Lambda to come talk to us and talk about how it's helped them and different advice that they can give to us as college students in either advancing ourselves professionally or academically, anything that will help us out. And what also works out great about that is the continued contact with some of these people. I've seen some of the people that we've had for speakers at career fairs, so you have that right off the bat to kind of go and talk about. Our mission statement is just listed as, mission of PBL is to bring business and education together in a positive working relationship through innovation, innovative leadership, and career development programs. So like I was talking, the meetings are kind of based around developing us professionally and academically. So it brings the professional and education together. We are requesting a total of $2,340, and I'll just break it down by item here. Travel, $1,725. This comes out to, we have 2 state conferences each year. One in the fall, which we just had, it's based on workshops. We have different people that will speak to us. So it's kind of like what we do as our club meetings, but expanded. And that way we can meet up with people from different chapters in the state and do some networking. And we actually have a few fundraisers upcoming that we're working on with different chapters in the state just to do some collaborative work. The one in the spring is a competition. We generally hold that at Herzing University. So we have people from the different chapters come together and we compete against each other in various different items, like topics. Just some examples, there's like an accounting exam, then there's different things like stats or sports related things like that. But there's also competitive events. So there'll be things like, it'll be just different like academic related things. So there'll be, sometimes they'll have to do like some sort of sales type thing, or there'll be impromptu speech, or what's the different one? They have job interview. That one's actually a rough one. I heard that at the national level, that one was actually really difficult. They had somebody who was pretty tough on people there. Like one girl actually, I heard, left the room crying afterwards. So it's definitely, it's meant to give students a great experience. Well, that some of that. Rewind. No, but some of that actually, we actually talked about that recently. It's good to experience that sort of thing because sometimes you have HR people that are really, really nice and really welcoming, and they get information out of you. Other ones are just rough and they're really tough on you. But it's all just different tactics. That's a little off topic though. But. And then I listed summer, and I just shot it down. In the spring we had people compete, and we had 10 people go, and all 10 of us qualified for nationals. Out of those 10, 5 people went, and what I gathered from the other 5 was that it was financial reasons. Like I chose not to go because I'd be giving up 3 days of work, and that was kind of a big part of that expense. But it's a great opportunity. Last year they went to San Antonio. This upcoming year they're going to Anaheim, so it should be pretty exciting. So that's just to go to those kind of events. Services miscellaneous. For those guest speakers, we like to show our appreciation for them taking time out of their day to come speak with us. It really, I feel like it does it's really great for the members of our club. So we like to get them a little honoraria just to show our appreciation. Printing and duplicating. For our meetings, we like to print out agendas or any other related items. Sometimes we'll give information about the upcoming conferences, different things about the conferences, and that way they kind of know what it's all about. Take that back with them. Food and service, we're requesting $160 for, we have 2 open house meetings. We call them kickoff meetings at the start of each semester. We like to bring people in, and that's one where we'll have pizza. Other meetings will have like snacks and that, but we take care of that through fundraising of our own. advertising, $80 is to help advertise for our fundraisers in the upcoming years. We're hoping to expand our fundraisers now through funding. Like in the past, the past year we didn't have a budget, so we were relying on our own account. So the fundraising was to keep us going. But what we're looking to do is, through this funding, we're going to be able to take more of the money that we get from fundraisers and give it to March of Dimes. PBL is one of the leading contributors to March of Dimes. They do different things. Sometimes they'll do things at conferences and that where they'll try to quick raise some money. What they did was they sent around some buckets, and it was like in a few minutes they just tried to get as much as they could, and they actually got a couple $1,000s in just a few minutes of just quick fundraising, just like change out of pockets. And then we actually have this is the type of schedule events. I broke it down to our general, that way like our general schedule events, it stays pretty consistent. We have bi-weekly membership meetings, and in the off week we have our executive board meeting in order to keep planning and make any changes that we need. So as I said earlier, the meetings are to have either a speaker. We also like to have fundraisers or community service type things, or site tours. As far as community service, we like to do a fundraiser at least once every semester. We're looking at 2 in this coming spring. We did Hands on Oshkosh as a group. It's a great way for us to get together as a group and get to know people who are actually in our group, but it also is a great way to give back to the community. So we like to do those sort of things. I put on the back, there's a rough copy of our exact schedule. It even includes like when our executive board meetings are. Some of the stuff is set in stone, some of this shifts around, but that's the general sort of thing that we have. And then I just included just for added information. So far this year we've spent $261 on our club events, including Taste of Oshkosh and our kickoff meeting, as well as following meetings. The following meetings are less expensive. But yeah, so some of the other fundraisers we do is we do Culver's Night. We did that last fall, and then we did Buffalo Wild Wings in the spring. We're looking to do more of those, as well as we actually have one planned. We're gonna sell puppy chow during finals week. Figure some people at the library could definitely use some, but because you can't sell sleep. But yeah, that's about all I got. If you guys have any questions, please shoot. Yes.
So the travel only includes the registration?
Yes.
For these events? Are they drive in, drive out, and you don't stay over, or?
Actually, that's a great question. I didn't include that. I only included the registration just to keep it, I guess, modest. Generally,
you guys pay the difference though, right?
Yeah.
You incur those costs.
Yeah, because we, for example, we'll pay whoever, we'll have somebody drive the majority of us. Sometimes we'll have 2 drivers, and we pay for the gas, and then we do stay overnight. And sometimes we'll do that, because we don't have enough funds in our other one to pay for the entire thing, so a lot of times we'll just subsidize it for the other members, so that way they still.
So out of allocations, we only pay for the registration.
Yeah.
And you pay the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yep.
So any more questions? Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's also waiting.
Do you want an extra one? There may be an extra. I think we're going to keep some of the other committee members. Oh, we're going to keep an extra one, so we can grab it on the top over there.
That's
We're
okay.
going to keep Candy one of his.
Yeah. That's all right. You guys can keep them all.
We won't need to.
We only need 1 copy.
See if they're out there.
Yeah.
Just take this last piece. You should take that last piece.
This one got 5 minutes.
We'll take the last sausage.
Just want to keep it.
Sorry, you don't run.
No, fine.
But I will see you on Tuesday.
Thank you for coming, Amelia. Thanks,
And we do not meet on Tuesday, right?
Correct. That would be
Wait.
not awful.
Not before the meeting.
No, yeah, no, we don't have like our normal.
Oh, right, it's 5 o'clock this Tuesday, correct?
Hey, Jane,
Yes,
admission to the show that you're rehearsing for right now,
yes.
is it general admission, reserve seating? How does that work?
It's reserved seating.
Reserve seating? Okay. All right. And you'll let me know when tickets go on sale?
It's the week before.
Okay.
That's what we can only afford box office tax.
For 1 week. If I show up the night of, probably gonna not get in, or?
Oh, it's a big enough house. We never sell out.
If you guys had more time, would you sell tickets longer than the week?
Well, there's a whole bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of issues, especially because of the box office manager position, that we have a little bit of money from the dean now for that, but it's only for X number of hours. So they really are only there around showtime and maybe a little bit before and after for budget stuff, but.
Hypothetically, let's say that like there was a service like Titan
Yeah,
Central,
I know,
which
I
does
saw
a
that
lot of other
before.
things. There's an opportunity to sell tickets for an event, like the Slick Sells, I was just curious if you guys would be interested in selling tickets.
You know, I know that we've talked about that, but what we've found is that there's something about them getting them physically into our theater space, if they're gonna buy them in person. But we actually do it online. People can now order online, we use Titan dollars and, because we're all, see, that's the other thing, is we're all computerized, so there's so much more stuff now. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing now.
Yeah, sure.
So that adds all this layer of staffing.
I was really good at that this year.
Running it out there.
That world. That's how you can just run reports
I'd be
and back
interested in
up.
like, one of we work, how do we transfer that? How you,
I
how
was
works
like,
the
I don't think we could have made it.
Titan dollars, we just consider it.
I have no problem playing that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I know it's a specific computerized ticketing program that works for
You're Chris
theatrical,
and I'm
that type of events and
You just make your own internal tender that you get a report. that
Okay,
says-
I'll call you
Yeah,
back
I
in
know, I mean, you have like
5
actual ticket
minutes.
stock that you print out.
No, you don't call me, I'll call you. Okay, I'll call you back
I
in
mean, it's
5
like
minutes.
what theaters do. I mean, it's what we should be
Sugar
doing.
and syrup. Want to do the intro while she's getting ready? Okay, so you have your 15 copies?
I do.
Okay, thank you. And then this is the allocation committee, obviously. I am Ryan Hackett, I'm the chair of allocation. This is Nick Erd, he's the controller. That's Jim, our advisor, and all these other people you're seeing are either students, faculty, or staff. So you're gonna have 15 minutes, obviously.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna take care of that.
Want to be a distinguished guest.
Is it the top 3?
What's that?
Do we take the top 3?
Yes, top 3.
Okay, so you're gonna have 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, just go through and explain what your club or organization is and what you guys do. And then go through your budget proposal and then go through each line item and just briefly say what you're asking for and why you're asking for that amount.
Okay.
And then after that, we're just gonna ask you questions.
Okay. Sounds good.
Do something.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, we are the Oshkosh Telethon Society. We actually branched off from a different radio, TV, film organization last year. We kind of tightened things up and changed things around a little bit. So technically, we are a new organization requesting a new budget this year just because we have changed things. The main objective for the Oshkosh Telethon Society is to put on a telethon every year. And for the past 10 years, we have gone with the same organizations, so this year we are staying with the same nonprofit organization, but technically it is up to the producer's choice, who are elected in the fall, to decide which nonprofit organization we work with. And this year we are doing several fundraisers throughout the fall, but our major event is the Concert for a Cure, which we've had in the Titan Underground for several years now, where we have a lot of local bands come in and just kind of promote the telethon before it actually happens, and then the telethon itself is in the spring. And it allows us not only to work with a nonprofit organization and raise money to help find a cure for the specific disease, but it also allows several students to get more experience in the various broadcast areas. A lot of radio, TV, film students are involved because the day of they can work on a television set, but we do get students from other majors that get involved as well, so that they can work more with, like we have social work majors this year because we do work with the families that have this disease affected in their family somehow. So we get a lot of people working.
As for our proposal, I guess I can just go down the line like you said. For rents and leases, we are requesting $270.50 because we do rent the Titan Underground for the evening when we have our concert for here, and in the past they have charged us $240 for a one-night use, but they also charge us $30.50 because we do use their sound equipment. So that's that total because that's what we've had in the past for that major event. For maintenance and repairs, because we are a radio, TV, film organization, we do use the radio, TV, film equipment for our fundraisers because we are filming them to make news packages to show the day of the telethon. And also the day of the telethon, we are using the Titan TV studio, so we are using various equipment. The other radio, TV, film organizations do request a certain amount of money for maintenance and repairs, and since we haven't been able to do that in the past, we would like to help contribute to that just because we are using their equipment just like the other organizations. So we would like to help contribute to that repair and maintenance of the equipment since everyone else is. For services, because we have the Concert for a Cure every year, it has grown to be a major event on the campus, and so next year we would like to try and make it even better than it has been in the past. Typically we do bring in local bands, it just kind of keeps it an easy evening, but we would like to have the opportunity to bring in major bands from other areas. We were looking into doing that this year, but because of that, we know that the travel expenses would be involved, so we would like to offer at least some contribution to gas money in order for us to get larger bands to come and perform, just to make the event bigger. And so we were requesting to have $25. We typically have 3 bands perform, so we were requesting $25 for each band to pay for travel. And we would also like to actually give them some money as a thank you because they are donating their time. They usually bring their merchandise along with them anyway, so this way we can give them a little bit of compensation for their time that evening. So we're requesting also $50 to compensate the band, so that comes to $225 total. Printing and duplicating, we obviously promote all of our organization's events between the fundraisers, Concert for a Cure, and the telethon itself. Last year we spent $85 total. I copied this for posters and other promotions, so we're just requesting that same amount this year. For supplies, we do have to build our set for the day of the telethon, so that requires a lot of work. We do have flats that we use from the Titan TV studio, which are the large flats of wood that we build the set from, but we do need to decorate them, so we have to get paints and supplies for that paint. And so we did actually look on Menards.com because we typically buy from Menards. We looked at their specific prices for what we need to buy between paint, rollers, etc. So that came to $242.55. Postage and freight, because we have so many businesses that are donating items for the telethon or donating other things, even just monetary, we do like to send out thank yous at the end of the year just because they have given so much to us. We at least like to send thank yous back. So that's how we calculated $49.95 because last year we had about 100 donations, so that was about a little under 100 letters that we had to send out. So we're anticipating roughly the same amount next year, possibly a little more because the telethon is 2 hours longer this year. And for advertising, we have gotten t-shirts in the past, but we do like to use them as promotional tools, and now that we have moved the telethon to the spring, we would like to get our t-shirts right away to use them as promotion, that we would wear them to every single fundraiser and then throughout the year leading up to the telethon, so we do see that as part of our promotion. So we are requesting that we could have a budget for that from allocations, and we are working through foxgraphics.com, and you do have a minimum of 50 shirts, but then there's $6.95 each, so that's how we came to that should say $347.50. I'm sorry about that, that's a mistake on the top line. So that's why we are requesting that, just to help with our promotion in other areas. And finally, for miscellaneous expenses, we do need to record the Concert for a Cure as well as our other fundraisers that we are filming, so we do need to buy media tapes for that. So that came to a total of $17.98 for us to have the right amount of tapes just for recording everything.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions for the Oshkosh Telethon Society?
Sure. Just curious how this was funded before, so if it was part of another group, or what group was that?
It used to be National Broadcasting Society, and we did still have the telethon. We just narrowed it down because last year National Broadcasting Society also ran the RTF department banquet, so we would request money for that as well. We also had the telethon, and then we also had some money requested for students to send out their their films and things to different festivals, so we would budget for that as well. This year we're just focusing on the telethon, so we're trying to make it just a telethon group so that we can do more for the telethon instead of having just various things in our organization.
Okay. So the same amount was about requested last year, just in that other budget.
It was a little bit different. We did have a little bit less last year. This year it's more because we are requesting to help along with maintenance of the equipment. So that's why our amount is larger than last year's, because we didn't request that in the past, but we felt like we should contribute that because the other radio, TV, film organizations do contribute to that. But otherwise, it is roughly close to what we had last year. We're just tightening it to focus just on the telethon rather than those other things.
And where does the money go, you raise?
We work with the AT Children's Project. It's a nonprofit organization that's raising money for a deadly children's disease called AT. Well, that's the short version of it. And they have bases all over the world, but the United States base is in Florida. And so for the past 10 years, we've worked with that org, and we are this year as well. But we are leaving it open that every year the head of the organization can decide which nonprofit we'll work with. So if they want to work for cancer research in the future, they can do that or things like that.
All right, is there any more questions? Thank you for coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Throw the box down now.
You're one of those people that puts like the empty milk.
He did.
That seems so uncivilized to me.
So, you know the question I'm gonna ask about this budget, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's the question?
What is the other?
Can we
group
fund
asking for?
fundraising?
Can we fund fundraising? Like, and that, I agree that there's some costs in here, like, I think, like the maintenance and stuff, because they shouldn't focus it more on the thing, they should focus it more on the concert. We're funding the concert, not the fundraiser that occurs with the concert. I think the way that this is presented, it puts.
Couldn't
you
they
guys-
take the cost out of the funds that they raise though?
That's why I wanted to ask the funding question, because I don't think I remember from NBS.
I don't remember him
Does
talking about
National
it either.
Broadcasting put a budget in this year?
You're not on our list.
Because this whole budget is solely geared towards a fundraiser. So.
Especially when it's the same.
I'll leave that up there.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that PPM says we don't fund anything that's related to fundraising. It's not across.
Seed funds. There's this.
That might just be an RTF.
I don't know, maybe
I think you guys need to, you need to meet as a tri-group and figure out the interpretation of that.
That was really weird.
But I feel like they just.
Their spreadsheet had something we would call Gas Central. What is that?
They pay for their own hobbies.
Is that natural gas?
It's probably utilities.
Here's one for you. Is
Thank you.
anyone here?
You startled me.
Sorry. No.
That's okay.
Then here's one for you. One for you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Yeah, we're gonna need some extras. You can just give it to them.
This pile right
I
next
don't
to it.
know.
Just give them those.
Here's litter.
How did I get
Right here?
delegated?
Cody is the designated extra guy.
File keeper.
Keeper of the
That's our
pile.
expert
I
order.
don't mind if I close the door. Do you?
No, go ahead.
What you gotta do, start coming at us already?
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Lynn. Oh, okay.
He's got it.
Oh.
We're gonna do introductions first.
Oh.
But we know your debate club and you're probably really good. Don't worry. No, welcome to Allocations Committee. This is going to be your budget hearing. I'm Ryan Hackworth. I'm the chair of Allocations. This is Nick Erk. He's the controller. Jim, the advisor, and all these other people you are seeing are either faculty, students, or staff. So then you have your 15 minutes. You have a little more time. And then 10 minutes will be dedicated to just going over what your club organization is, what you guys do. And then more specifically go into your specific budget proposal and each line item and explain how much you're requesting and why you're requesting that much. And finally, we will end with questions.
So if you, like, 210, so if you're still talking about your line, I'm going to stop you just to make sure that we can get all the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or summarize everything else.
Yep.
That's fine. Okay, so my name is Nicole Tates. I am the captain of the UW-Oshkosh speech and debate team. And this is my coach, and she is the faculty advisor for the UW-Oshkosh speech and debate team. She's a communications professor here on campus. I just wanted to make note that if I reference the speech and debate team as the forensics team, I might do that because it's also commonly known as the forensics team. So just make note of that. So then, for our mission statement, the Speech and Debate program at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh is a co-curricular program designed to complement students' educational experience by providing the opportunity to compete in speech and debate at the intercollegiate level. Students participating in speech and debate travel to other campuses to compete against colleges and universities from across the nation. Participation in speech and debate teaches students many skills, including proficiency in speaking, research techniques, critical thinking, new information technologies, and performance. Our program provides students with the unique opportunity to combine education and tournament competition, testing their communication and analytical skills against the best and brightest students from the nation's colleges and universities. The Speech and Debate program at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh has a prestigious history and a tradition of success dating back to 1937. Currently, we are upholding that tradition with both competitive and educational achievement. If you would flip to the next page, this is our Excel sheet of what we are all requesting. I also want to make note that our account number is in like number form. We couldn't quite get the account number to work, so just want to make note of that as well. As you can see, we are requesting amounts for travel, printing and duplicating in-state, supplies, postage and freight, subscriptions, dues and membership, and prizes and awards. And then if you flip 2 pages over.
Can you go over your line items? Like the travel, how did you arrive?
Yep, that's what I'm going to do right now. Yep. So the narrative summary is 2 pages over. So the first line item is travel. Our organization estimates a travel requested of about $45,000. These funds are used to send the speech and debate team to several local and national tournaments each year. At these tournaments, the speech and debate team competes against other universities. And most of the tournaments usually are 3 to 5 days. And there are a good number of tournaments that are close in our area. So for say, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, stuff like that. But any of the tournaments that are more than 6 hours away, we do need to fly because we do only have one faculty advisor. So it's just in the best interest for the students and for her. If anything over 6 hours, we don't take by car, we go by flight instead. The next line item is printing and duplicating in-state, which we are requesting of $100. The team will need to photocopy research, scripts, and visual aids used by the students during competition. Some of that stuff, like the scripts and visual aids, I'll go more in depth to on the next line item. The next line item of supplies, we are requesting $700. The team uses an incredible amount of paper for flowing, pens, black binders, script page protectors, and black particle board for visual aids for research and presentation at the speech and debate tournament. Paper for flowing is what we use when we are going in debate rounds and such like that, and also going over speeches, like informative and persuasive speeches. Pens are self-explanatory. The black binders are what are required for our performances because the scripts must be present when we compete and perform. Our script page protectors keep our scripts in place in the black binders, and it also gives a more professional feel when we are competing as well. The black particle board for visual aid is basically just a large poster board that we use. Our visual aids are on a tripod stand, and then the particle board is placed on top of it. Because we're not allowed to use technology for visual aids at our competition, we use the particle board as a visual aids because it helps enhance our speech topics at the tournaments. Our next line item is postage and freight. We are requesting $40 for this. Occasionally, the team must provide evidence of research and scripts before traveling to specific tournaments, and that requires mailing evidence. We also host tournaments, which requires invitations to be mailed out, etc. This expense is decreasing as more and more can be done via the web. Basically, what this means is that when we go to the national tournament, they require us to mail in our dramatic scripts to make sure that they aren't home written, to make sure that they are actually a published script that we are performing.
The next line item of subscriptions, we are requesting $200. The team subscribes to Planet Debate, which is a research debate database the team utilizes for research. The team also subscribes to various forensics literature to find material used in competition, particularly the Sun magazine and various literary journals, such as Glimmer Train, because each year we are required to provide new and fresh pieces, and we are not allowed to repeat any of the pieces used previously. Next line item of dues and memberships, we are requesting $300. The speech and debate team belongs to the following speech and debate organizations: Cross-Examination Debate Association, American Forensics Association, and the National Forensics Association. Typically, the memberships for each of those associations is around $100, so that's why we are requesting $300. If you flip to the next page, this is our last line item, and this is the item of prizes and awards, which we are requesting $200. The team hosts at least one tournament a year, which requires an award ceremony at the end of the night. Also, we like to award our members with awards at the end of the speech and debate season. If they have reached high achievements during the competitive season, it just encourages and motivates our members to show that what they're doing is appreciated and such like that. And then on the next page, we have our travel schedule. Now you will see that there is a little note beneath that this is a typical travel schedule, and our tournament locations may change. You can see that we broke it down into fall and spring. In the fall, we go to Illinois State University, Western Kentucky University, Bradley University, Florida State University, Ohio University, and University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Just wanted to make a note that even though you see the list is kind of short, some of the tournaments that we go to are swing tournaments, meaning that the school that hosts, so say Illinois State University, might double up with Bradley University, so there's two universities hosting a tournament in one weekend, so one day for each school basically. So that enhances our chances of making it to nationals and such like that. So then for spring, we have Eastern Michigan University, Northwestern University, Purdue University, the state tournament, which is one that is one of our favorites, and that will be held in UW Stout. The University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire also hosts a spring tournament as well as in the fall. The Nationals tournament, which is National Forensics Association, which is held in Marshall University, and the National Debate Tournament, which is held at University of Texas, Dallas. If you will please flip to the next page, we have some expenses. And basically, this is just a list of examples from tournaments that we have previously gone to over the last few years. They serve only as an example for the committee to get an idea of how much a tournament costs. You guys can obviously take a look at this, and it's kind of self-explanatory. There are a few that I want to go over with you and show you the breakdown of how each works. So the first, if you would look at Western Kentucky University.
Go Hilltoppers.
We had 4 travelers in this tournament, 2 entries per each traveler. And the hotel fee was $648. Entry fee was $64 total, so that was not per each person. The food was $440. Food is a substantial amount because in-state, each person gets $20 per day, and then out-of-state, it's $40 because of the longer trip and higher prices and food and such like that. Flight, we have...
You can eat pretty cheap in Bowling Green, trust me.
Yeah, well, it's pretty nice there, but... Flight, we have $1,060. Rental car, $272.45 because since we flew, we need to get a rental car to get there. And baggage fees, so of $250, so the total was approximately $3,000 just for that one tournament that we went to. You can see also on the page Illinois State University and Ohio University. If you would flip to the next page, please. I would like to point out Marshall University, which was the NFA Nationals. At this tournament, we had 8 travelers. The flight expenses were much higher just because of how many travelers we had. Food, of course, is higher. And like I said, because it's out of state, we have the extra amount included in that.
Also for nationals, this one specifically was the National Forensics Association National Tournament, and it was a 7-day long trip, which is why the flight and hotel stay and everything is much more expensive.
Yep, sorry. I was going to get to that. Thanks. The entry fees, they seem to be less expensive, but that's just because when you go to nationals, you have to be qualified in your event in order to go and participate. So from the last one that I was talking about on the last page, Western Kentucky University, each person had 2 entries, but say for this one, each person had only 1 because the other one they didn't quite qualify for the tournament. So if that makes sense for the entry fees expenses. And then hotel fees was higher because of the longer stay that we had as well. So the total for nationals is going to be much higher because this is our big tournament of the season that we have every year. And then next page, we have some additional support the debate team receives. We receive a tremendous amount of help from the Department of Communication and from private sources as well. You will see a list of the different sources that we have, such as the Director of Speech and Debate Program, Salary and Benefits. So Maggie, my coach, she gets a salary and office space. She gets compensated for that. The Assistant Speech and Debate Coach, if we were to have one, would get the same thing as well, but we do not have an Assistant Speech and Debate Coach. Course relief for the Director and the Assistant Speech and Debate Coach basically just means that the Communication Department and the university works around their schedules, so she can teach on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, so it doesn't conflict with our travel and her class times. Another thing I would like to point out is that the next item, the Communication Department allows the use of office space at no charge to the team. So we have a debate room that is in the Arts and Communication Center that we are able to use. Another one I would like to point out is that 2 years ago, the department created a new class for participants on the speech and debate team. People on the team can now enroll into 96-277 and 96-411 and get college credit for participating on the team. Last year I was enrolled in 96-411 and I did get course credit and I was able to participate on the forensics team as well. So it just enhances and increases and motivates the people on the team for taking these classes as well and vice versa.
Alright, you need to summarize the rest of the last 3 pages, please.
Okay.
We have to really time for questions.
That's fine. The next page is basically just showing you some programs, some comparative studies about speech and debate programs, especially successful ones. You will see, and the next page kind of goes in more in depth with the numbers as well about these, that in the 1991 study, the amount was $41,000, and in 2006 it was $55,000, and basically it was due to inflation, which is talked about on the next page.
Questions?
Got a
Matt,
little.
you want to do Steve? Steve, would you like to do that?
Just curious, how much do people who participate have to pay to participate in any of these? Like, how much do you guys pay to be on the team or go to the events?
We don't have to pay any fees to be a part of the team. We do have to pay for our attire though, so like what I'm wearing, our suits are funded pretty much out of our own pockets. And let me tell you, suits are not cheap. So we have to work really hard and make ourselves look presentable and professional at our tournaments. So that's kind of our membership fees in a way, but we don't have to pay any direct membership fees for that.
So,
do you guys do fundraising or anything along those lines?
We haven't done any fundraising yet.
Okay.
As of right now, I mean, we are hosting a tournament for fundraising purposes, but it's not necessarily for this team in particular. It's actually for the forensics community as far as on a national level.
Mm-hmm.
So with the cost being what it is, what's the benefit to UWO for involvement? So what are the general students, because seg fees or allocations, each individual student pays a portion of the courses.
So you're just basically wanting to know what each student kind of gets out of participating?
Sure. Well, no. I think it's more so.
An average student, what do they get the benefit of the speech and debate team? There's a justification of that amount of money being spent.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Because the way, I mean, from a dollar standpoint, is everyone throws money into the pot.
Right, yeah.
Your collective budget is in the amount of $46,540, and for the trips and the tournaments and whatnot, you know, it's 4 travelers, 6 travelers, 6 travelers. Those are typically the same people too, I'm gonna imagine.
Yep. Mhm.
So students, the average student is paying $50,000 towards a club that benefits 6 people. That's kind of where I think, is that where you're going with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, well, I just wanted to point out that everybody who is aware of the program, like every year we send out an email to the whole entire university saying that, you know, forensics team, come and if you'd like to get more information kind of thing. We don't typically have a lot of turnout, so that's why our numbers are lower than, you know, an average team might be. But for our turnout that we do have, our members are really committed to the team. So for average student-wise, I guess, I mean, it would seem to them like, oh, well, if I'm not a part of this team, why am I paying for it? But we have been trying to get more involvement and more awareness of our program out there. But we just haven't been as successful as we wanted.
But then again, if you added more people and more people went to the events, it would be that many more times expensive. Like the trips are all out-of-state stuff, or whatever, so that's another person's flight. And
right.
So I would assume it's pretty linear as far as the costing with how many people are in your group, right?
Yeah, and also I think, if Maggie would agree with me, if we had more people on our team, we would try to focus to go more like in-state and closer tournaments that we could like drive to as compared to fly, just because it would save costs that way as well.
So, have you looked at saving? I mean, the questions I have later on is just just basically you go to both national tournaments and things like that. And if you guys looked at the other one is when we look at these for the entries, do people who go to nationals, all of them qualify? So no one's going who didn't qualify for anything?
Right. I mean, you have to, depending on, because the American Forensics Association is also a national tournament that you have to have, it's a much more difficult route to qualify for that tournament. Whereas the other ones, you just break into a final. You have to travel to all of these tournaments and accumulate certain points into finals. So for example, if Nikki goes to Illinois State and she breaks just one tournament of the 2 tournaments hosted during that weekend and she gets 4th place, she may qualify for nationals for NFA, but for the other one she would still have to keep competing. And also they compete regularly throughout the year so that they can actually get more feedback, because once nationals comes around, everything has to be like speeches such as persuasion speeches, informative speeches, all have to have updated research and everything like that.
We're running out of time, but do you have a number I can reach either one of you at, so when we're actually delivering budgets and we have
Is it
further
on there?
questions as we
Yeah,
do?
mine is on there, I believe.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I do want to add one more thing. The reason why we don't travel as much in-state as we would like to is because a lot of the speech and debate programs in this state are dying. So UW Stout is a very small program. Whitewater is kind of growing, but it depends year to year. So that's mostly the reason why we travel out of state.
I have one more quick question. Sorry, Jumbo. So how many of these are required to attend, and how many people are required to go to an event?
Well, each semester it's required that we go to 3 tournaments each semester. So even if there's a swing tournament, that still counts as 2 because there's 2 tournaments held in that one weekend. But 3 tournaments is required per each person for each semester. So that helps us get our qualifying up.
Is it required by nationals or by?
Well, at nationals, you have to break 1 time, so you have to get 1 qualification to go to nationals for that event. But the American Forensics Association, I believe you have to have 9 qualifications in order to go to the AFA national tournament. So that's why we have to travel a lot more, because even though there's only 2 tournaments in that one weekend, that still doesn't qualify us for AFA. If that makes sense.
Thank you. We'll contact you. Alright, next is...
Maggie, I take it you've been to Western?
I am an alumni of Western.
Oh, are you? When did you graduate?
I graduated in 2009.
Well, I wasn't there anymore. I was your former director or assistant director of housing.
Oh, really?
Sorry to.
Oh, no, it's okay. I mean, you pretty much
I
asked
worked
about
at-
that.
I was excited when you said go
I was getting
Hilltop.
is this an all or not type deal?
Oh, yeah?
Guys.
Oh, because
Is somebody else here?
Yeah.
But just leave that talk over, try to watch it. Simple raise of hands. Good question.
So, I thought we looked at groups that had over a certain number of budget to have more than 15 minutes.
Come on.
Where would you like us?
In the middle is fine, and then if you just want to pass your sheets around, that's fine.
Sorry. Okay, so welcome Rifle Club, obviously with the allocations committee. I'm Ryan Hackworth, I'm the chair of allocations. This is Nick Erd, he is the controller, and Jim our advisor. Now the other people that are sitting in the committee are either students, faculty, or staff.
Spectacular.
Have you guys done this before?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 15 minutes total, 10 minutes, just explain what your club is, what you guys do. And then break it out, and then you're gonna go into your specific budget, specific line items, say how much you're requesting and why you're requesting it. Does that make sense?
That sounds great.
Please begin as soon as you're all settled in.
Okay. If you could give me a copy, dear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's actions for you guys. You want to see this.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, obviously, as you know, we are the Oshkosh Rifle Club. My name is Christina. This is David and Wesley. And just to sort of go over who we are and what we do, we are obviously a rifle shooting team. We shoot Olympic 3 position, so prone, kneeling, and standing. Our mission is to not only teach students proper gun handling and safety, as well as the Olympic 3 position shooting, but to promote the sport amongst the students and faculty even, and community around campus. We do that in part with our charity event every fall that the community is involved in, called Turkey Shoot. Let's see here. We also aim to provide a well-ventilated and safe area for people to shoot. We have a essentially state-of-the-art ventilation system in our range, and that provides a exceptionally safe shooting experience for anybody who comes to join our club. So let's see here, to sort of go over what we've requested for the budget.
Just go line item by line item, it's fine.
Okay. Luckily for you guys, we only have 2 line items to go over. One of them being very large though, so I'll start there and sort of flesh out anything that I may not have gone over in full. So line item 21XX, we have requested $15,861. Realizing that is a exceptionally large number, let me break that down for you. Our first event held in the fall is the Boilermaker Invitational in Purdue, Indiana, well, at Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana. We know that the trip is 616 miles round trip, so that when using a fleet vehicle, we drive there and back, in addition to driving from the hotel to the range and restaurants for dinner. So we've calculated our travel costs there at the $338.80 that you all see.
Can I just stop you for 1 second?
Yes, of course.
The total budget, by the way, is 16,061. 16,061.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I changed it
It's okay.
elsewhere.
16,061.
16,061.
You just added up your travel all 3.
Yep.
Yes, I apologize. I must have
And,
missed that in one of my edits.
It's okay, don't worry about it. Continue, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, I prefer to be corrected.
No, they just like to have a general consensus of how much the total budget is.
Okay. Okay. So, then we've actually made a change this year from previous years. We have flat rated our food at 10, 10, 20. So 10 for breakfast, 10 for lunch, 10 for dinner per student per day, which makes it easier to calculate for, I think, everybody across the board. And it also limits us to, we're not going out and having lobster dinners on on the company dime, as it were, every night. So that for most of our shoots, everything except nationals, as a matter of fact, we're able to limit our food costs to $6.40 for the entire team as well as our coaches. Let us see what else here. For all of the events, again, well, I should say half of the events, we do also require to stay one night in a hotel because we shoot so early in the morning. So we go down on the Friday, we shoot on Saturday, so we need to spend Friday night there. So for both Purdue and for the intercollegiate sectional at University of Michigan, we have one night in a hotel, 5 rooms, that's 2 people per room, plus coaches, single coaches room, obviously. Don't need to blow any more money than is absolutely necessary. We looked into both previous costs for the hotels and future. We did our research on future costs as well, and they've stayed relatively stable for the past several years.
Last year was when we had like 4 people, 5 people this year.
Yes, if you were to look at our last year's budget, our team has increased in size this year. So that is also a reason, if you're looking at last year's budgets, why there is an increase this year, because our team has expanded. We now have a full team, which is very exciting for us. Last year, we were functioning on about 3/4 to half a team most of the time. So it's very exciting this year. We had enough interest to get a full team.
Full team plus an extra person.
Yes, full team plus an extra person. So that's really exciting for I should take a step back here and actually for the Boilermaker Invitational, which is coming up, obviously not this weekend, but next weekend, we actually have enough people to send 2 teams, which is something that hasn't happened for quite a while at the very least. So that's something we're very, very excited about.
It's been 4 or 5 years since Mark Bernardi had an actual 4 and plus 2. I mean, last year at this time we had enough, but 2 people said, no, I can't, I have to do this, or I'm going home this weekend. But this year we actually have everybody going that can go. There's 2 people who cannot go, but yeah, it's been 4 years since they've had almost a full 2 teams. We have a full 2 teams this year if we could do that. And now that we use the fleet vehicles, we have the opportunity to take everybody, whereas before we had to use the Army's vans, and you couldn't fit a full 6 people in 6 gun cases and 6 duffel bags in there. Now we have the ability to do that. So that is also why everything's up from previous years.
If you guys just want to quick go through them the last couple so we still have time to ask some questions.
Yes, of course. So then the intercollegiate conference, we'll just cover that quick, in Ohio State. The main difference you'll see there, obviously, besides the mileage difference, which is, well, for obvious reasons, it's a longer trip. The main difference there you'll see is the room rate, or the room. We need to be there for 2 nights because it's a longer trip. It's simply, that's going to be the main difference you see between that and the ones before it. Now the big one, let's talk about nationals a little bit. Nationals is, first of all, a huge honor to be able to go to because we're shooting against Division I schools. We're competing against schools that are better funded, they recruit, they're Division I schools, let's just put it that way. So to be able to send a team like we did last year was a huge honor, and with that, unfortunately, comes a huge expense because we have to fly. It's held in Fort Benning, Georgia, and when you send 4 people and 1 coach, plus the extra baggage costs to be able to send our guns, and overweight baggage for all of our suits and duffel bags and stands and all of our equipment. We're talking plus rental vehicles and hotel stays for an entire week that we're down there. That is an exceptional cost, and we understand that in asking for it, so we try to keep everything to a minimum.
Also, we did ask for nationals because last year when we made it to nationals, out of the 4 people that went, 3 people were brand new shooters. We have those same 3 people shooting this year, and we're all shooting better. We have a very strong, firm belief that we will go to nationals again and qualify.
I am gonna have to cut you off just because I want to make sure that we have extra time.
Yes, of course. That's.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Membership dues, fundraising, any of that?
We don't have membership dues or fundraising at this time. It's something that's been on the burner, as it were. But
you also aren't requesting any supplies or like equipment, ammo, anything like that.
No, we
Yep.
we don't have to request money for guns or ammo.
So how much so I guess in that vein, do you guys have to pay if you want to attend an event? Like how much out of pocket do you pay to go?
Out of pocket as a team member, for personally as a team member, we don't pay out of pocket to go.
So we subsidize that, your whole trip when you go?
Essentially, that's what we're requesting is to have the trip subsidized so that even a team member that doesn't have a lot of money can still be able to participate. Yeah, I know, poor David, is still able to participate. We don't want to be limited. We don't want it to be a rich man's sport, essentially. And some of the costs, like nationals, like being able to stay in a hotel at Ohio, it can be a significant cost per person.
Any more questions? Okay, all right. Thank you guys for coming in. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Y'all have a lovely afternoon.
So, is this typically just a reoccurring theme? Is this, I go back to the question you asked the group earlier about how does this tie in to help the university, other students? I mean,
well, I think since we've looked at viewpoint and travel a little more in the last few years, I think what's interesting to consider is if someone travels and you're paying, it's $1,000 trip, and you're paying $300 of that versus another group where you're traveling, you're paying nothing, and you're going to wherever. I mean, this is the same thing here. Look at the hockey team. They raise their funds, so they're paying a part to participate in this, whereas this group, I mean, I'm not pointing the group out. I just want to have clarification when we deliberate that.
I was actually really shocked that the hockey team charges each individual player $750.
when he said that, I was like,
well, here's an example of the hockey club in
23
particular.
people on their team.
Last year they cut the trip because they asked for, where was it?
Alabama or
Like Alabama or Arkansas or something. It just wasn't in the realm of possible because it was an extra $6,000. They still kept it scheduled, but raised that amount of money to go. Whereas these other groups, you know, I don't know how I feel about that comment about a rich man's sport and there is some balance in this, and like, you know, when we addressed food last year, some of the considerations was that is that when you look at the food costs, how much we spend.
That's what I was going to ask too.
It's $1,000 a trip for debate to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that in 3 days' time, they were going to spend more on food than I spent in a whole month. You know, they were just spending 3 days. You know?
So,
I wish I could live off that budget. No shit.
I have a family of 4.
Well, I mean, how would you, and this goes back to, how would you feel when, and I don't mean to call them out, I'll ask the same question of the groups. How would you feel as a student that you're paying your student fees? If you said all of your student fees went to cover half that student's cost to go to some trip, all inclusive, like, by all inclusive, I mean, they didn't pay for that.
I would join those boys, just strictly for that. And I don't mean to be.
And it's for you guys in the term, it's for the students in the term. I have
you're not
as someone who has a fiscal, like, you have that consideration. I mean,
Right, and I think that's the purpose of the committee is to like, that's our job, is to say, come on, what part, I mean, yeah, we wanna be inclusive, we wanna have the trips and all this stuff, but it also shouldn't be on the burden of the school, it should be, you know, the people that benefit, it should do something like fundraising, or at least something to offset it. I did not know hockey charged $750 for their season.
Well, I knew they charged something for their players.
$750?
It went up. It wasn't that high last year.
I think it was like 650. But I mean, they're only 2 years, they're only like 2 or 3 years old, and they pretty much hit around. That's only first.
Yeah, last year was their first year with it. This is their second season.
I think they were around the year before, but they weren't competing.
They were a club team, yeah. They weren't like an actual UW hockey team.
Did you close something?
I checked it twice, and I wanted to bring that up. Like, I don't mean to be rude by interrupting people, but like, I just think it personally, it's really, it's bad image for the group if like we're over time limits on people. And just kind of want to make sure.
Are they here?
I went outside twice and I didn't see them, but 6 hours is long enough to be here, and if we keep letting it drag out, like that's why Ryan asked for the debate team. That's why Ryan asked for the debate team. Like, is there a number we can contact? Because we'll probably bring them in. I want to bring them in for a meeting. Or at one of our meetings.
Did you give at least, so I don't mention that, Rob have a double session or something?
What? Rob does have one, because they have Rob and Rob.
I'll make sure you take it.
And they're back to back.
I need to talk to you about that though.
Why?
Because I don't know if they can do that or not.
They can't do back to back?
Well, because it's only scheduled for clubs and organizations, and Rob Concert isn't a recognized club organization.
Well,
I just don't know if we can do that.
so do we tell?
Well, the Reb Concert account is a separate account.
It's managed by them.
That's managed by
I know, but
them.
then it should be within that 15-minute time slot. Or is,
Here's what I'm going to tell you on this, and I'll advise you from a general thing, is that I think some of these groups inherently warrant a little more time, and you guys should be aware of that. Like, if it's the size of the budget, it's the size of the budget. Like, debate at that amount, you know, there's a lot of questions that can go further into that, and so if you prepare, you know, like Rob, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of questions. There's always a bunch of questions. You know, I don't know what their budget is, but it's
true. And I think if that was brought beforehand, but we already just let debate go, so I don't think it'd be fair if we give debate, only gave them 15 minutes.
You and I are probably gonna talk with them.
Yeah, so we'll talk to them more, and we'll, if you guys want your questions.
Because there's 4 people, they have a budget of $50,000, and they have 4 people consistently going to events.
But here's the thing, they have 8 going to nationals. And do you need to go to 2, my question was, do you need to go to both nationals, and how many of these events are required?
As I understand it from the speech and debate, one is a debate competition, and the other is more of a forensic speech competition. So they're 2 different national competitions.
So if they don't come, we don't hear their budget, they can get a hearing? Like, do I take that
This person has 2 in a row, so.
Technically, we can still approve the submitted budget.
Well, we don't have
But we don't technically have to approve it because they didn't come in, we can just say we don't understand it.
So that's all I'm saying. I don't care really, honestly. But when you have these situations like, I mean, there's a lot of questions. That's a lot. It's a big budget.
We'll just sit right there.
That's what I'm saying, like maybe next year, like for any budget, that's when we're like 30,000, they can have 30-minute time slots instead of 15.
30, that's still kind of high, that's in like 20.
Because right now, as it stands, every union board would be getting 30 minutes.
Related?
And she's in religious studies. Wow, that girl has.
Well, okay, let me tell you the other thing is that structure, and some of these groups take that time very effectively, and some just kind of squander the 10 minutes. Like I could read what's on the paper.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
Yeah, no, they went out for a little rant about some stuff that.
Wow.
Said.
But I think it is moving, you know, I do like that it's moving on.
There's one girl on Tuesday doing the Pagan Student Alliance, the Belly Dance Club, and the Religious Studies Club all in a row.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Some people are the treasurer for 4 clubs.
You can't be the treasurer for 4 clubs. You can only be the treasurer for 1.
And
She's
she's the organization contact.
Why could you not be the treasurer for 4 clubs?
That's a rule in our PPM.
That you can't be the treasurer for more than 1 organization?
Yeah.
Why would that be? I don't know if you have the authority to set who can be the.
I'm just saying what's in the PPM.
Let me see the PPS. But I mean, I would challenge that and say that that has some irrelevancy.
Oh, I agree.
Because there's no conflict of interest, there's no, and you can't dictate who joins it. I mean, here's what some clubs have, like Rob may have, which I don't even think they may. What other group was it? There's some groups where it says you can't sit on more than 1 exec board, which is, you know, but unless that club specifically does that. What would that be under?
I don't know.
Damn it, Jim.
I don't know. I don't have my PPM in front of me to look.
Perception.
They still gonna show up?
No, but she's got the second one too. So she's the 230 and 245.
Hey, you're gonna live a life of big disappointments if you get that worked up from a.
I don't. It's just kind of a you pick the time. So.
I know. Allocation probation period, which should be taken out.
Oh, yeah.
Sweep up, zero-based limiting. Reception,
I'm
definition.
sure that wasn't the only one. I felt that was a little awkward.
Yeah.
What?
That meeting.
Which one?
They tend to be a group of. You talk about the rifle club?
Yeah.
Yeah, they tend to be a group of collective, socially, they're a very cohesive team on their own. They were very, when they came to present for nationals like last year, they were scared out of their wits. The girl who came works for us, and she was like sick to come ask for $10,000.
You can tell they were nervous just by presenting today.
But I mean, they get sick they ask for you're asking for $10,000, so 4 of us can go compete on the national level. I mean, that's a pretty big thing, to compete on the national level.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's not in there, Matt. It might have been under budget procedures where I was thinking it was.
Wait.
So maybe it's not in there
I was
anymore.
wondering. I'll call a challenge on that. Can we?
I just have a, okay, so if the UW system policy, I'm just back to that fundraising thing. So the UW system policy supports the seed money thing as long as it's reimbursed. Doesn't that supersede our PPM?
No.
Like
Not
the federal
necessarily,
government
no.
versus the state government kind of thing?
If it's, well, the federal government, if it's stricter though, yours is stricter than the community system, so yours would supersede that. Like, for instance, a place can have a drinking age that's more strict than.
Right.
Section
You can't
7.04.
Can't be less lenient and.
What's that?
7.04.2, a student can only be the budget manager for one organization or club at a time.
Budget manager.
It doesn't mean that there's a.
It is the organization contact that's listed.
Yeah, so it's not
So
budget
it's
manager.
not, yeah.
But,
It
you
could
know,
just be on the
but if
exec
you wanted to
board.
bring that up, I would challenge on what the validity of that was, and could you enforce it if someone wanted, like, I don't think you can dictate who joins and participates in a club
There's
at that level.
10 things in that PPM we can't.
By the way, UW-Oshkosh, this is Ryan Hackworth, chair, I'm the group controller. Basically, you have now 10 minutes to give us a brief summary of what you're doing, what the club is for. You don't need to read the mission statement or anything like that, and then give us a brief summary of what you're requesting, and then we'll ask you 5 minutes per question. Okay, so go ahead.
Swing dance, we started 6 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's right, so.
With past members. Anybody can be joined who wants to. Twice a year, we have a charity dance, once in the spring, once in the fall. And we ask for donations for the Oshkosh Area Humane Society.
Yeah, anyone can join. We teach from the simplest steps right at the very beginning, so it's very inclusive and open. We tried to put together a group routine for the charity dance, and then individual members can pair up for their own routines for that. So there's a lot of room for learning and some direct experience.
So this year you're asking for.
You're asking for X amount, you're asking for $500 for equipment, if you just wanted to go over that, please.
Yeah.
So we were basically just looking to get a new stereo or set of speakers. Right now, the new set, or the set that we got, I believe it was last semester or last year.
Last year.
Yeah, they're not working. We're gonna look into fixing them first of all, but if not, then we'd like to have the budget allocated to be able to get a new set.
Where do you guys store all your current equipment and where do you hold the things?
We were storing it in the upstairs storage in Albee near the gym, but they're working through some policy changes where now organizations aren't allowed to do that. So right now the speakers are being stored at my apartment, and our mat is still in that storage area until we can figure out a better place to put it.
Like they're not allowing any clubs or organizations to store anything out there anymore?
To my knowledge, I'm still trying to work things out with the department.
Could they store it in in the slip?
Possibly. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
a gymnastic
Brandon.
size mat, so it's pretty big.
There may need to be have some long-term discussions with student orgs or a rep from OSA. And Alvin.
Yeah.
Because before you guys buy anything, you're gonna have to figure out where you can store it.
I'm sorry.
Right.
So that's just gonna be our biggest thing. So if you can't, then if you do get funded, you're gonna have to just not spend it and allow it to go up to sweep up.
Okay.
The stereo, did you guys like look it up? Did you just an estimate kind of thing, or where?
Yeah, I've been looking up a couple different things, just looking at rough estimates, $500 should be plenty. I've been looking at one in particular that was about $200 that should probably meet our needs, but I still need to check on that and see if it's actually suitable.
Is there any more questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks. Actually, you don't need to send me a spreadsheet because I just put it in there for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
You don't need to send me anything except just send me an email with. You know what? It wouldn't hurt to just send it to me.
Just let me know.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
because if then later someone asks where the email is or something. Just send it.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you again.
We'll see you in 15 minutes.
Personal and cultural experience through the medium of dance. Emphasize progress and originality, create healthy and challenging learning environments for dancers, create artistically innovative performances, and quality effects that will inspire our audience to maintain high standards and integrity and respect. We're basically just a bunch of kids who like to dance and want to sort of show the community like that this isn't just a college neighborhood.
So yeah, just go through your line items and tell us what you
Okay,
got.
so let's go through
travel.
You don't have to read it. Just kind of we just want a brief summary
Okay.
of how you got your numbers and what it's going to be used for.
Okay, yeah. Line item 21, the travel $1,440. We're looking to take around 15 students down to Madison for it's called Breaking the Law. It's a festival urban movement, they call it. But it's basically a hip hop dance festival. There'll be the cost of, or actually we have the $20 per day for food into that, which will, for about 16 students, will be $640. And then for four hotel rooms, for 2 nights, costing about $100 for each room, so then that would be $800. And that's where we got the $1,440 from. And then the line item 23, the rent and lease. For the travel to Madison and back, we would be renting a van, one of the vans and one of the sedans at the cost of 50 cents per mile, and the sedan would be 40 cents per mile. Be $95 for the van and $75 for the sedan, costing $162. And then the cost of gas round trip would be around $100, so renting the cars and going to Madison would be about $270. And then we will be doing a performance in the spring on campus in Albee. And we would require bleachers, which would cost $75, speakers $20, microphones $24, and curtains $175, and the sound and lighting technician for $60. So the total cost for that showcase would be about $354. And then in the winter, there is the Fox Cities Roller Derby out in Appleton, and we do a fundraiser there. They let us perform during halftime, and we would receive, I don't know what their rate is right now, I haven't checked with them yet, what we would get, but we would rent the van and a sedan at the same cost per mile, and just the cost of gas would be $30. And so the rent and lease items would be around $700. And then line item 2670, the printing and duplicating for Taste of Oshkosh to make brochures, about 100 brochures at the cost of each sheet at 65 cents. So it would bring the total cost for the Taste of Oshkosh flyers at $65. And we also plan on making about 100 flyers to promote our showcase in the spring, which will also be about $65, so the total cost of that would be $130. And then light items for supplies would be about $370. We would like to buy approximately 30 costumes for our performers, And so the cost of one shirt about $8.80 and $13 per pair of pants, totaling cost of costuming for $370. And then food and food service contracts would be about $200. We plan on ordering pizza and drink just to have like a welcome back in the beginning, or a welcome in the beginning and like an end of the year sort of thing. So the total cost of that would be $200. And then so our total request would come up to $2,840.
Is there any questions for you guys on?
Yeah, I just have the list of events. I don't know if you want me to
Go for it real quick.
Okay. In September, we got, well, the Taste of Oshkosh, a sort of audition / showcase. Like, and we're not allowed to not take members, so we kind of just want people to sort of show us what they got in the beginning, so we sort of know what we're working with almost. And then our first practice would be in September, and then sort of want to do like a team building retreat to like get everybody together and meeting new people and stuff like that. And then October, we might want to go to Lambeau Field they allow cleanups, like to clean up the stadium, and then they give you so much money. I know some of the other clubs that we are sort of friends with have done that in the past, so we kind of want to do that next year. And then in November, the Asian Student Association has a talent show, and so that's what we're preparing for right now in November. And then the Hmong Student Union has a conference, and then they also ask us to perform there, just to get our word out there. And then in December is the roller derby, and then possibly a winter showcase also. And then February we got return to practice from break, and then sort of like a welcome back potluck to get everybody back into the swing of things. And then April is Asian Heritage Month, and they also ask us to perform at the Asian Kickoff, which is in the Albee Gym. And then in May we'll have our spring showcase, and then at the end of that is the Breaking the Law in Madison.
All right. One quick question: how many people were in your club last year? The general membership for
Last year we ended with about 30, 40 members.
Is there any more questions for Beat the Soul? All right. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys.
That was probably the easiest budget I've ever heard, as far as like 30 to 40 people, and it's $1,000, $2,000.
Well, I think this goes back to my discussion originally, is that if you were gonna entertain a policy this year to help reduce costs, it would be getting rid of supporting food, because look at their one trip, half of it's just food for in-state, $640 to take, I think, 10 people down.
Yeah, but one thing the first thing I noticed, on their thing, at least with the food budget, is, they budgeted at $20 a pop, per. Now, the others were doing $40, $50 a day.
That's out of state. It should be no more than $40 a day per person. In state, it should be 20, correct, per your PPM.
I believe so.
So if you see any amount above that, you should reduce it, because, or at least accepting the in-state. The $20 is a general carte blanche, and start applying that out of state to help reduce some of those costs.
Alright, so there are already, I have problems with the Lutheran budget, freight of 550 for things they might have to send to different churches. $550 of freight.
Okay, we're sending the Holy Grail.
Student assistance, they want to hire interns.
Yeah, we dealt with, I don't know if it was this group, there's another one.
There's only one place that we hire somebody, and that's because they had so much debt that they had to hire somebody to fix everything. Or the only person we've ever hired. And that's because we needed to. I think it was the advanced times.
To help out with worship, isn't that supposed to be like
Part of the club?
Yeah, but we do not. Where did she run out to?
I don't know, probably to make her other race that she could do. What What's her name?
Oh, the stamps, it's the stamps for the newsletter and anything in mailing. So, I mean, stamps aren't cheap, we've got a good number.
$900 for food.
You guys switching?
Yeah.
Right now. Give it a little power.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Give it a little power. Oh. Might take you up on that offer. I don't know if I'm gonna feel like walking home after this. 4 slices of pizza.
But then again, I mean, my problem is like, when I look at the budgets, I often do what did they request last year to compare to what they request this year. But that doesn't really compute because we're supposed to be zero sum.
Yeah. Well, you could use it in, you can't say, for instance, a good example is, last year we got $10,000, you guys gave us $5,000 this year. That's not, you can't use that as a considerate, like, so in the reverse, it's easier to see that as opposed to 5 to 10.
You can ask it to say justifications, why are you asking this much? Like what you did today, that was fine. Like saying
Correct.
you asked her 5,000, why is it so
Correct.
much this year? And if they give justification, that's fine.
Yes.
But if they can't, you can use it as reasons to.
Like if I said, last year we got 5,000, this year I asked for 10, well, we have twice the membership, we're planning this new event, that's why. So then you can see, oh, that justifies that increase, but if you can't base it off of, well, since they got 5,000, they used 5,000, they should get 5,000.
That was my problem with the debate one though, is because
That budget is gonna be very interesting because
my problem with it is that one, they don't pay anything, and she said that suits are expensive. I'm a college business student. I know suits are expensive, but I'm not. It's not like that's all they pay for their suits. Well, no shit. You should already have.
wasn't there
suits.
something
Like,
there that we can't pay for, we can't fund an organization that allows students to
you can
get
do
college
whatever you
credit
want. I got mine.
for?
What's it?
It's not,
really cheap olive
it's
oil.
not phrased like that. It's, we can't directly fund the class.
Compared to like JCPenney.
So we can't fund the instructor to teach the class or materials for the class,
So if
stuff
they're,
like
even if
that.
they're getting academic benefits.
Yeah.
Guys find it more tough than girls though coming.
Yeah.
I'm
But
getting my
and
head
she's
made
like,
for
well, we
us.
pay, she's like, well, we pay for this, and but she goes, and well, that's why I asked about members, is because it's very important when you think like we're trying to benefit the most students that we can. So clubs that have 50, 100 members, of course you expect their budget to be in the whatever range that is appropriate for having that many people. But when you have a club that has like 8 members that are requesting $50,000, I'm not saying there's a dollar amount per student that should be allocated, but
Well,
I'm saying
now you start getting into the variables of viewpoint and travel. Like when you look at groups of funding, like the difference here is that that particular group has many different events, and this is what the funding level is per event. Like, whereas another group may go to 1 or 2 bigger events and have a similar, but have more. So you have to compare it. And the other thing you have to think back to is that I don't think she computed that question very well. Is understanding that this is basically your group, the allocations group, is paying for everything for that to happen.
they paid $0 out of pocket.
But there's quite a benefit that they get from doing that. But I wanted to know what they thought was our university, like what do, as a student sitting in the seats, what do you guys?
She wasn't prepared for that. I mean, because maybe she would have had.
Ousted the debate team? Amazing.
Yeah, she was not prepared for that.
It's just a good question that you should be asking a lot.
Yep.
You look so proud right now.
I couldn't be prouder. What's that movie with Denzel Washington? That was pretty good.
Other students get
I meant more so with the debate. What's the one where they had the debate team, the all African American debate team? Or was it Sandra Bullock?
What are you babbling about?
Multiple movies together though.
What are you babbling about?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Hey, did Fletcher Hawley know you that?
No. He also sent me a spreadsheet, so I mean, really,
What's a spreadsheet consist of?
Numbers.
You should tell them that, oh, you forgot to add the $500 allocation fee you need to pay us to be a registered student order. See if they pay it.
oh, Samantha went downstairs to email me her budget.
Are you serious? That's good.
No, the one from, I was like going through, basically this is what we do, is to get all the the budgets in the spreadsheet. Every day that we have the club, I'm just gonna go through and add those clubs to the spreadsheet. When we hear, because I wouldn't put it in there if they didn't come to the budget meeting.
Martial
Right?
arts.
So yeah, so wait. Anyway, but I opened it up like before she got here. I opened it up to like put it in the spreadsheet, and it was blank. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
I don't know why you're sitting there too long.
I also was curious. She's like, well, I fell asleep. I'm like, damn, it's like 2 o'clock right now.
She was at partying all night.
Oh,
She's
oh,
drunk.
that's. Yeah.
Maybe some people like to
Who
stay up
lives
late
there
and
with
do
those?
puzzles.
Wow. It's been a while since we had a rousing.
Wow. No life at all.
And that comes after our gamer conversation.
Right?
Well, I can understand if she would have said gaming. I mean, okay, yeah, that happens, you know.
I played. I
Get
did,
going
I
and
did,
that's that.
I did the night I bought Battlefield. I did
She's
play
here.
until 7 a.m.
Battlefield 3.
Battlefield 3.
You want to tell her?
Samantha.
Samantha, come back.
Just waiting for one other person.
Oh, okay.
She still has 4 minutes.
Is she sleeping? No, I'm just
No, she told me woke me up and was like, oh no, I forgot. And I was like, I need to leave the
So,
house.
were you up till 3 or 4
Did you-
doing puzzles? Is that what you were
Is that
doing?
your PJs? Is my question. Is that
No. No. I was up and late last night, but
See, I was right. Was it puzzles?
Puzzles are fun though.
Yes, they are.
If she's not here by 3:15, I can just start without her.
yeah, that's fine. I Facebooked her
So
right
I
afterwards.
communicate too.
Who's coming at 3:15?
Another girl from my club.
We moved.
What group?
The Lutherans.
Oh, Lutherans.
We don't like spots.
So they
But we do have a 3:30, so it has to be done.
Yeah, that's fine. She should be here.
I grew up in a military household. I am.
Did you ever hear anything back from Fletcher?
I would say that time is important when you realize that people who don't follow time, it becomes twice as important.
I don't mean to be racist by any means, but I have I'm part native, so it's okay, but I have 2 native friends who they say that they're on Indian time, and they legit don't have any concept of time. Like, he'll be like, all right, I'll come over and pick you up in 20 minutes.
I
And
don't
it'll
know
be an
if you
hour.
predicate that sentence by saying, I wouldn't predicate a sentence beginning with anything of, I'm not racist.
No, but I'm saying,
I was gonna say for
that hurts
My eyes got real big.
Time out. My native friends
You
call
can
it
just-
native time, so I'm calling it native time, but I didn't want to appear prejudiced.
Well,
They call it
You
native
seem more
time.
prejudiced because you.
I know it's just like when you
predicated
reference no
some-
offense,
you're-
but it's gonna be offensive. I'm saying I don't reference it to Indian time. They do.
I find it offensive that you're offending yourself.
I am 1/8 offended right now. But that was my point.
Oh shoot.
Anyway, but yeah, he'll be like, I'm like, what happened to pick me up in 20 minutes? That was an hour ago. And he's like, yeah, native time. I'm like, oh. So now I just purposely like, yeah, pick me up in like 5 minutes, and then I know like I have 30 minutes to get ready. But no, I grew up in a military house where like, if I was 1 minute, if my dad's rule was if you're not early, you're late.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I'm typically, I mean, I'm usually at least a half an hour.
That's too much, but.
Well, my dad was in for 30 and then I was in for 5
Oh, I thought you meant like.
in the military, so to be early it's all about being early.
Normally I am.
No, we're not.
I know that. I know you're not talking about me, but normally
That was when you were gone. We were talking about.
Yeah, when I wasn't here and sleeping.
No, he mentioned because we're trying to do time crunch.
People don't realize that, you know, if it's 15, it's 15. Some people it's like 15. Well, 15 could be 20, right? But when you have so many budgets.
Yeah.
When we have, like, yeah, we're here for, you know, like 2 clubs, so we'll meet whatever, but we meet 4 clubs in an hour. Which is pretty awesome.
Alright, let's get started. Do you remember the spiel from last time, or would you like me to reintroduce
Just
him?
do it.
Hello, I'm Ryan Hacker. I'm the chair of Allocations. This is Nick Erb, he's the controller.
Hi.
And that's Jim, he is our advisor. If you could please, in 10 minutes, go through what your club is and what you guys do, and then go through each line item and say how much you're requesting and why you're requesting that much and give a justification for it. And then finally, we are going to ask questions. Do we have action items?
Yeah, can you be here?
It's gonna be buried in there.
It's going to just use our search method.
Control X?
Yeah.
I don't remember how.
You can just put it on
It's
top.
gonna be a long year if we're not having fun. It's gonna be a long year. Alright, go ahead.
We're the Lutheran Student Movement. We're one of campus ministries on campus.
We worship over in the gathering place, which is right across the
corner
street.
of Elmwood and Amherst.
We also have Oshkosh 1 with the gathering place and the Lutheran, so we're Lutheran and Methodist. Anybody can come worship, even if they're not. Before worship, on Mondays and Thursdays, we have dinner for anybody who would like to come. Soup on Monday for anybody on campus.
Super Monday, which is fun, which is really fun. After worship, which we have on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock, we have a fellowship time, which usually includes ice cream sundaes. Outside of those are our weekly activities. We also offer special events. Like every fall and every spring, we go on a retreat with whoever wants to go to Imago Dei Village, which is part of Crossways Camping Ministry up by Hatley. And then every spring break, we go on an alternative spring break, usually on a mission trip somewhere in the United States. This year, we're looking at going to Buffalo to work with Collegiate Habitat for Humanity.
Yep. And then we'll do different volunteer events throughout the year. We'll go have 2 or 3 students every month visit a church so that they know who we are and they can see our faces, especially the ones who donate money.
Can you guys go through like the specific line items on that?
Yeah.
Just like travel, telephone, and all that good stuff.
Student, you know more about the student assistance.
I do.
Well, you're one right now.
Oh, okay. So the Gathering Place has 2 interns at this time. I'm one of them at this point. And we have a worship intern and office intern where she does like books and answers phones and emails and things like that. And then I plan and organize every worship for every Monday and Thursday, including theme and scheduling guest pastors from our synod, so the greater area. I create contacts with all of the local churches within the Fox Valley and beyond, and I usually organize any volunteer work that we do.
And for next year, we're looking at just having 3 all year, so 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall, and 1 in the summer. So they'll do kind of both of them, and then we're hoping through the synod to get somebody to do more of the office stuff. Then telephone, that's how we communicate with the different churches, different pastors, the synod.
Do you have like a phone through a company, or how did you arrive at $964 for budgetary?
Yeah, that was from what we spent last year through the company, and it's I have no idea. We always forget the name of it, but yeah, it's a phone company.
So looking at past bills is the number that we arrived on.
And then the internal services, that would be for our worship twice a week, and then for the musicians who are at the worship. So we have 5 musicians, 3 on Thursday nights and 2 on Monday nights, and we pay them $15 for playing the music and the time that they put in practicing and everything else. Printing and duplicating, we want to put out 3 newsletters a year to the different churches in our synod so that they know what we do and what's going on, not only with campus ministry but with the university, and to get people to come and preach or to donate money.
The newsletters also go out to every alumni that we still have contact with, and then really anyone who's ever given us their address. So we contact them so they know what we're doing and they can help support us in any way they can.
And then also we print pamphlets and brochures that we give out to people who come in or want to know more information. So at the Taste of Oshkosh, who just walk in the door. Supplies, that's just basic office supplies to run: paper, staples,
printing ink.
Food and food service, we're looking for our Monday and Thursday worship services beforehand for dinner. So $30 a week, so it's like $15 a meal, and that's, again, is for anybody who wants to, they can come. We usually
And
enjoy
serve
a meal.
about 15 to 20 people each meal. So there's that.
Postage and freight would be to send out the newsletters the 3 times a year to the different people. And then miscellaneous expenses would be for our retreat to Mango Day in the spring and then again in the fall. Usually we have about 10 people who go. More can go if they would want, but that's just about what we get.
Average.
So that would be for the lodge and then for food.
Is that everything?
I just wanted to point out, just from looking at this real quick, that for the food especially, through the food service contract, it states in our PPM that we only fund food for the first and the last meeting every semester.
Okay.
So we only allow 4 food totals. So if you were to do it $30 a week for both services, it would only be $120 for the one semester, so a collection of $240. Is it based on our PPM, if I'm understanding it correctly? We would only be allowed to fund just because otherwise every group would come
Okay.
forward.
Yep.
So that way you can get around that is if food
You're like the
actually
pizza
pertains to
party.
the mission of your.
If you're the pizza club, you can get pizza every week.
And I was actually gonna ask, I mean, so who are you reaching with these meals? I mean, who,
We invite anyone that we talk to.
Yeah.
so I mean, is it
It's
outside the community or the university or?
Yes.
yeah,
Is it
some
everybody?
people.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes we have people from outside the university come. Usually it's just university students. Sometimes faculty and staff will stop by. So.
And then every pastor that we invite from the area churches comes and eats with us as well.
If they're programmatic meals, there may be a different concept than if they're funding, which is what you're referring to, is just providing for membership. I think it's a little, if that's the focus of the program.
I don't think so. And what's
Yeah, like some clarification on that. Do you have other revenue or other sources of income coming in?
Yeah, we have grants that come in, and the churches that we send out newsletters to, they also will make donations to the Gathering Place and to the ministry.
Do you keep track of the donations? And if so, where do the donations go towards as far as like accounts or anything like that? Because technically, if you are receiving donations, it should be mentioned in your budget that you expect to receive X amount of dollars, and then you use that as your revenue that you create.
Okay.
And then it takes off from the expenses, and then we would technically meet the difference between those two if we fund the rest. So
I'm guessing in their case, it probably goes more toward maintaining the facility that they own off campus, the minister that they employ and stuff like that. It's not to the student organization as a whole.
Well, that should be, any expense related to the club should be included in the budget. So building, rent, etc., anything like that is supposed to be in your budget.
Only if it's something you're requesting.
No, it's, no, well then, if they're paying for.
Well, it depends on if it's funding that the club is receiving, or if it's funding that the Lutheran Church is receiving to operate the
Just like
the ministry house.
All their funding for agriculture.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in the second time.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah. Nice to see you.
Does that make sense though, Nick? If it's coming to that,
I understand what
if
you're
it's coming
saying,
to
but from
the,
a budget standpoint, that is 100% inaccurate. If you are receiving funding, you have to show that you have the funding.
but it might not be the club that's receiving the budget. It might be
If it's
their Lutheran church that's managing
But
their.
they have their house running interest, right? That one, they should show that they have expenses related to that house and that they receive funding to show that, you know what I'm saying? There should be some sort of account, otherwise you could say that you, there's no way to
It's a separate
track that.
operation.
Yeah, it's a separate operation.
The student group is not doing, we can.
Yeah.
Do you have your 50 copies?
50.
50 copies.
And your $100.
Sorry, but I'm about 35 short.
And your $100 deposit.
You can just pass it around.
Oh, all right.
All right, so this is the allocations committee, this is the budget hearings. And
Yes.
I'm Ryan Hackworth, I'm the chair of allocations, this is Nick Erd. He's the controller, that's Jim the advisor. So you're gonna have 15 minutes, and in the first 10 minutes, you're just gonna go through what your club is and what you guys do.
Okay.
And then following that, you are going to talk about each line item individually and discuss why you're requesting that amount and what it goes towards, and then justify why you feel you need that amount of money.
Okay.
And then we'll answer in the last 5 minutes with some questions.
All right.
Take it away.
The basic concept behind a self-defense club, and well, the long name is because it's like we try and cover two things. The martial arts study thing is looking at all the different styles that are available locally or otherwise, kind of comparing, contrasting, and in the long run taking what we feel is going to be the best techniques from a variety of these styles and teaching them, and of course learning them ourselves so that anybody that's not been previously taught can just come into the club. We can essentially give them like a Cliff Notes version of like martial arts with all what we think is the best stuff in there so they can learn very quickly and very easily as many and as the best techniques as we can decide to really be able to handle like any sort of like critical situation, whether it's being mugged, just simply being assaulted or anything like that. So rather than trying to focus on an entire style front to back, we really kind of pick and choose and put it all together and try and just give everyone like all the tools right away so that they don't have to like, in an instance of let's say like starting out as a white belt, you get the beginning and then you get a little bit more and then a little bit more, and then it might be when you finally reach a black belt ranking that you could have all the tools you would need to be able to handle any of a number of situations. And we're trying to shortcut the process and give students the opportunity to learn all this as quickly as possible, and of course free instead of sending them to other like dojos or anything else like that. That's pretty much everything we do. We just have a couple practices every week, students teaching students, and then on occasion we try and bring in outside instructors to teach things that just some of us don't know or aren't as good at teaching. Like, just for example, I'm really bad at grappling. I don't do very good groundwork. I do better standing up, so it's like we have a student that teaches jiu-jitsu, but then we'll bring in a jiu-jitsu instructor to supplement that. So, the travel expenses, line 36, it's kind of just like it says. I've found what helps with a lot of people is taking them to see like live demonstrations, so to speak, seeing like how a lot of the basic techniques are used. Now, obviously like an MMA or UFC fight really isn't like an assault scenario, but a lot of the techniques you're going to see, the basic punches, the basic kicks, takedowns, throws, groundwork, and everything else like that, is all the normal stuff that you would use in a situation like that. And sometimes being able to see it in person and really see how it works versus like seeing like movies or seeing it on TV kind of gives a more, I think, visceral kind of example of it that allows students to kind of grasp the way some of these techniques work and kind of experience themselves kind of firsthand seeing it. The last couple of events we've gone to, the tickets have been $20 a person. We've had usually a turnout of about 16, 15 people, sometimes more, but I figure for that, having enough funding for at least 15 students to go, 15 club members, and if there's more, then it's not too much more out of the pocket of the student to make up the cost for more people to go. So that's why we're requesting the 300. Line 40, professional services. This is what I was talking about, bringing in the outside instructors that just cover things that some of us just aren't good enough to teach or just don't know enough of. The fees, like it says in here, range from $30 to $60 for a 2-hour session to work with us. I was figuring kind of an estimated cost of about $50 per session. Gives us a little bit of leeway that if it costs more, we'll just schedule less sessions. If it costs more, or costs less, then we can schedule more sessions. Optimally, I'd like to try and get like 4 instructors to come in per semester, total of 8 times for the year, totaling out to about $400. That one I wish I could be more exact, but like I said, it really depends on what instructors are available and how much they charge to be able to do it. So $400, 8 practices at, I'm figuring a rough cost of $50 a piece. Potentially we can get more practices, potentially we might have less. The food and food service contracts for the once per semester, just kind of club meeting. In the fall, in the past, we've done like a cookout outside, That's a little more costly, like with getting burgers, brats, hot dogs, and the number of kind of like cookout kind of things. The last 2 times we've done it, it's been about between $100 to $120 to get all the food and everything so that everyone can eat. That's why I'm requesting on the higher end for that, for the one semester, $120 to do the club cookout for new members. And then we did a pizza party last year that everybody showed up, and we got, I think it was like 10 or 12 pizzas, it cost about $80. So for the fall, or for the spring then, for that meeting, I was requesting the $80 for food, totaling out to the $200. Going into the equipment requested funds, we did for a while have access to gymnasium mats in Albee 201 where we practiced. They were the fire departments. After the remodel and everything from last year, they're being very hands-off on using anything that's theirs. So we're going to kind of have to come up with our own stuff to use. We'd like to get, just like, it's cheaper to get the large folding mats. It is, but we don't have anywhere to store it. In addition to not being able to use the mats anymore, we no longer have anywhere to store it. So trying to condense it down into a smaller space and making it easier to, of course, transport is why I'm requesting the interlocking.
So where is your storage space then?
Right now, I'm sharing a locker with, or like the cage with the boxing club downstairs, and I've got some of our stuff fit in there. We've got a tub with our like pads for punching, kicking, all fit into that. That's in the bottom of the locker, and then we have a bob dummy that I just take the top off, store that in the top, and then the base sits down there. So that's probably what we're gonna have to keep doing, unless we can manage to get like one of the wooden lockers. Either way, we're kind of limited on where we can store a lot of this stuff. So I'm figuring with doing these squares, because they're about 3.5 feet by 3.5 feet, being able to stack and store and move them around is going to be significantly easier than trying to use the large, like 6-foot, 4-foot blue mats. We'd like to get 25 squares. It'll give us a total of about 18 by 18 foot area to work on, doing grappling techniques, takedowns, some throws, so that we're not doing it directly on hardwood. If we get less than that, we can make it work. This is obviously like what I'd really like to get. We can work with less, we've had to, so that's fine. 25 squares, for all the squares, $548.75, $113.76 for shipping. This is the cheapest quote I got. It's from, was it mattwholesaler.com or something like that. I did a little bit of looking. I was trying to find the like lowest cost possible for it. Taxes and everything, so about $695 for all the squares, shipping, everything included. Obviously these are going to be things that are going to be continuously reused. Probably we're going to be sharing them with the Jiu-Jitsu club based on how things go for them with getting space in the wrestling room to practice. And then the karate club as well has said that having additional mats or anything to work with would work well for them. So it's kind of, we're looking to make sure that we get as much use out of these things as possible instead of just like us using it for just 4 hours a week to make the cost go further, I suppose you can say. Second item from equipment is for just judo gis, just the top, so no pants. It'll just be like the top shirt and then the belt. Some of the self-defense tactics we've practiced in the past, dealing with like assailants, so to speak, that wear jackets, heavy clothing, sweatshirts, or anything like that. There's a lot of good throws, chokeout techniques, ways you can use the clothing to bind the person up. And we've done this in the past, like with everybody bringing their own clothing, and inevitably something gets torn or ruined. So I was requesting to get 4 different tops, get like 2 larges, an extra large, and a medium, so we have kind of enough for several people to be working at the same time. $50 for each one, about $10 for taxes, and then shipping is only like 14 bucks. So $220 roughly to get the 4 tops to be able to use that and try and keep people from getting their clothing ruined as part of practice. And then down into miscellaneous expenses, we just kind of want to get some club shirts. I'm not sure like what the rules are on before. We used funding last year to get shirts, and Rhiannon said it was all right, so I wanted to do that again this year, just kind of get shirts for students to wear. we got 20 shirts last year. Fox Graphics charged us is like $870 a shirt with setting up the printing, using the 2 different colors, front and back graphics. So we got 20 shirts for about $180 last year. We're looking to do that again, just to kind of give like people something to say. It's like, hey, I'm in this club, something to kind of like advertise. So that's the reason for that expense. So, and that's pretty much everything. So.
Is there any questions then? Do you have any unique club dues or anything along those lines? No? Okay.
We're trying to, with doing this club, we wanted to try and keep fees as low as possible, if non-existent for students. Because I know a lot of people that have like, oh, I would have joined the karate club, but they charge $60 for the year and stuff like that. And I'm personally very like pro learn how to defend yourself, and I don't want to scare anyone away by having club fees. I really want to get as many people as possible participating in this so that just the campus as a whole can be safer by students coming in, learning these techniques, and being able to defend themselves. And I'm sure you all have seen the emails of the last 2 years of people just randomly getting attacked, whether over by Black Hawk or just anywhere on campus. And obviously I can't, with the club, teach everybody on campus, but I'd like to teach as many people as possible using this club, bringing in the instructors, everyone working together. So.
Are you the club that puts on the self-defense for women thing?
The RAD class is sponsored solely by the Women's Center, and then it's like a female-only kind of thing. Another reason with like trying to get more people involved, get guys to be able to come in. So.
All right. Is there any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
I just have to see if Brad for Fletcher Hall's going to show up.
It really ranges. Like, we've got about 15 active members this semester, but with schedule and everything, we usually get about 8 people per practice, and then kind of cycles through. We've got 3 guys, well, 1 girl and 2 guys that show up pretty much every single practice, but then kind of fluctuates a bit. So. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day. But my problem with the funding for the Lutheran thing is because of the state auditor's report on UW-Oshkosh. Either one of you look at that. That there's a huge, they advise UW-Oshkosh to change a lot of policies in regards to who is handling what funding and how to keep track of the appropriate funding. Like, for example, there's one, like Amy in the financial services office. She was in charge of not only logging the hours, but also writing and cutting the checks. So there was an accountability problem that she could do certain things with it because no one else was checking her work as far as that. And then the other thing was
That's a different.
but
That's a different funding
part
issue.
of the financial part where they were saying about how to keep track of funding and like.
But here's the
student
but it's not the student. There's a difference of a student group that operates like pick XYZ club that has a bank account and they raise $2,000, they put it in and it supports directly the club. That entity there, having that house, that money supplements that house. That's a different thing than running the organization, which uses the house. So I understand what you're saying there, but we don't get, and there's no way to verify because they don't bring in like their bank accounts. Like you don't know who has a bank account. We don't require them to be in a specific spot. Like they can stick them. There's groups that may have $50,000 and you would know.
That's what I'm saying. It's because, but like I think it's weird that there's a club that actually has a house.
Club doesn't own the house.
The club doesn't own the house.
But I'm saying that they don't have rent or anything along those lines. And $964 for a phone for 12 months. Did you guys do the math on that one? Okay. I was checking.
Yeah. But it also says
it's supposed to be like
there's a in seg fees policies F50 I forget if it's F50 rules or seg fees rules. We can't fund maintenance or upkeep of off-campus facilities that are not owned or controlled by the university. So really, we can't
You could
pay the hotel anyway.
wisdom on that LSM account and see if they are paying for the student assistant.
No, the
They,
Lutheran,
I'm pretty sure they requested
student,
this last year.
the
What's
Lutheran
that?
They
student
requested this
movement.
last year also.
I don't know if it was the same group. I don't think it was the
Lutheran
same group.
student movement.
It was
like
one
I
of
thought
the
there was
other
another
groups.
group though, and I feel like it was exactly 3 also. There was another.
It was like one, and it was, so there's more groups that are trying to request this.
Oh.
Because I think they pay for it, and they're asking them to see if the organization can, but
Yeah.
we can't. Like, we don't fund that type of.
Yeah.
They received $500 in funding last year and now are requesting $14,000. So they requested $500, they used $494 total, $204 on printing, $290 on supplies, and that is it. And then this year currently they've had nothing expended to them, but they spent, or they had $5.20 in their account. So they went from having a $500 budget to a $14,000 budget in 1 year. And they weren't even technically on our spreadsheet. That's why when I went into Wisdom to look, because they weren't on our spreadsheet.
Oh, it's him?
They weren't on the spreadsheet, so I had to go.
There is another group, this wasn't the group,
His
there's
house?
another group that asked
His
for that
house?
student system. Yeah, I think it would have been that one.
Well,
It doesn't, it was
whatever
another
was
phase
before that,
group.
yeah. His house changed their name from something else, so
Yeah,
but
it's changed.
whatever is his house now, I think is what you're talking about from the project.
They requested it, you can't fund it, you can't fund the.
Well, and it may come out of this F-50 review that the regents are doing that we can't fund any kind of honorariums or stipends or anything like that for any student groups. Because there's a question about whether that, because seg fees are not supposed to be used for direct student aid. And there's a question, and I don't know where it started from, over whether funding stipends
Sort of all like
and stuff like that, including you guys,
We'd have to move to
is direct student aid.
So we'd have to go to site.
Or you just don't get paid.
No,
We
seg
could move
fees,
to segregated fees.
seg fees can't, seg
Seg fees
fees,
can't
money
do it.
cannot be used
You
for
just
that
don't get
purpose.
paid.
But aren't you,
Wouldn't that be
They're stuck, right?
non-applicable though?
they're step, right?
No, they're paid by,
Oh.
they're paid through on the allocated budget for the student
Then who
allocation.
pays?
Our allocation
Who
budget.
pays, who pays OSA, like the president or vice president?
That too,
OS, what's that?
that too.
They're saying that they won't fund OSA presidents and vice
That-
presidents?
It,
No one would do
No
that job.
state dollars.
seg
Nobody's getting part of
fees,
that.
seg fees can't be used for direct student aid, like financial aid and scholarships. And there's some question about whether stipends and stuff like that are the same thing as direct student aid. So,
Things change all the time.
yeah.
Well, we have all, yeah. Auditing, having an auditing mind about things is always good because
But that's also, there's 2 people that we have that are in charge of making sure $900,000 is being spent properly. which is-
Like our allocation budget, like allocation has a budget.
Yeah,
We technically, we don't present allocations though, right?
we present to the committee still.
Present to this committee.
the
yeah.
committee has.
Oh, to
approve it.
see if is that the thing where you say like, does he deserve to?
We had a bit of a controversy, I guess we'll say, what was the word I used before? We had a bit of a discussion last year about the stipend for the students. Because it's bad practice to propose an increase to a wage when you would get the benefit.
Yeah, no, that was a little ridiculous.
Best practices state that I would ask for an increase for next year. And if I was in the position, that'd be great. If I wasn't, then
I'm gonna assume it's this guy.
Alright, good first meeting though, 6 hours long as it's ever been before. Not too bad.
Are we meeting at 3 o'clock, our regular time on
No.
Tuesday, or just at 5 o'clock?
Just 5.
Just 5. We're not
Just
even-
5 o'clock.
We're just doing, we don't have any meetings this right next to each, it's all.
Because we don't have any, we can't have any.
well,
And I'm not
next
doing one time
Tuesday,
plus.
I won't be here.
Do you guys want to hold on to your name tag? Hold on to your name tag. 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 Hold on to your